Joe Hoopy with Purdue University School of Aviation and Transportation Technology says drones often deliver better detail from above than standard satellite imagery. It's just about time for racing at IMS. Drivers will take to the IMS road course on Friday for practice and qualifying. Race day is Saturday. Green flag drops at 4:30 Eastern. A check of the roads. Good morning, Matt Bear.
What's happening, Jarrett? Looking at northbound 65 stop-and-go traffic, Keystone Avenue to the south split. And lanes are reduced as you approach the south split, so please be careful. Northbound 465 on the east side, slow from 70 up to Penn Pike. And inbound 69 stop-and-go traffic from 106 to 465. That's an 8-minute delay. Traffic sponsored by Fiesel Roofing. A new roof can be expensive, so let it help pay you back. A Fiesel solar roof cuts energy bills and saves money. Go to FieselINC.com to save $2,000 off your solar roof. That's FieselINC.com. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Stylin'. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 6/22/25, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
This May, be a hero at the finish line. Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives reminds you to say yes to organ donation the next time you're at the BMV.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by B&W HVAC, Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
Forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Spotty showers possible this morning. Scattered showers and storms this afternoon. Today's high 70, mostly clear, quiet, and cooler overnight, a low of 44. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Jarrett Lewis. On the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com. Time for Kendall and Casey.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
So, all right, let me play this scenario out here for you, okay?
Yeah.
Then you tell me if I got this correct, all right?
Okay.
Because you're the voice of reason.
Sure.
On this program.
I try to be.
All right, so state invents quasi-government agency. Quasi-government agency with somewhat decent premise, expands over time, balloons into some unrestrained monstrosity. Most of the money spent, the public money spent, is shrouded in mystery.
Yeah.
The governor then comes out and claims such alarm over the money spent and shrouded in mystery and who benefited and how much that he orders a forensic audit of said shadow government agency. And then a couple days later appears in celebration at the biggest quote-unquote purchase that shadow government agency that he purports to be so concerned about has made to date.
Correct.
Did I get all that correct?
You did.
That was Braun yesterday with the Eli Lilly thing.
Yeah, isn't it interesting because on April 8th, he released that executive order requiring financial disclosure for IEDC's private fundraising arm.
Yeah, and real quick, I just want to reset this. Most of our audience, you are the most knowledgeable, informed people in the country, but we want to reset for new listeners. So the Indiana Economic Development Corporation is a quasi-government entity primarily funded by property tax dollars, but they skirt and avoid reporting and transparency requirements. And so trying to figure out what they spend their money on, who benefits, and how is very, very hard. Now, numerous articles have come out about alleged potential shenanigans, improprieties, whatever you want to call it, involving this Indiana Economic Development Corporation. And so the governor, Braun, the new governor, has ordered a forensic audit, which is basically the tippy top of auditing, deep dive.
Right.
We got to get to the bottom of it.
Paid for by them.
And one of the things that we know or been able to piece together that the IEDC has spent a gargantuan amount of money on, hundreds of millions of dollars on, is overpaying and gobbling up farmland in Boone County to facilitate mega real estate transactions for some of the largest, most powerful corporations, not just in this country, but in the world. And yesterday, Eli Lilly, with a market cap of close to $800 billion, did some ribbon cutting, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't a grand opening. Groundbreaking, thank you, which we know, what we've been able to piece together, it is believed that hundreds of millions of dollars between land acquisition and public infrastructure has been spent to allow Eli Lilly, a company with a market cap nearing $800 billion, to open a $4 billion facility.
Yep.
Okay, did I get all that?
You got it all.
And Braun was there yesterday celebrating this. Now, a reasonable person, Casey, would say, wait a second. On one hand, Mr. Governor, you're so concerned about the actions of the Indiana Economic Development Corporation that you have ordered this forensic audit to take place. You know, Mr. Governor, that the look, by the way, Braun has all the information, okay? He don't need a forensic audit. He could release it all himself if he really wanted to.
You think that's all theater?
He's essentially the head of the IEDC. There's some guy who runs the joint, but Braun, as the governor, is the head, the de facto head of the IEDC.
Show me the books.
He could release it all himself. He doesn't need a forensic audit. It's the same thing with the city county council doing this investigation into Hogsett and all the money they're spending on that. By the way, you know who's paying for the IEDC audit?
They are.
The IEDC.
Yeah.
So, but the point is the governor, this is the same thing we're dealing with the Indianapolis City County Council, spending all this money to investigate, to pay third parties to investigate Joe Hogsett and the sexual harassment allegations involving Thomas Carl Cook and what Hogsett knew. They could do this all themselves for no money. They have the power to do it. Braun has the power to release all of this stuff himself if he actually wanted to. He doesn't want to. Now we're led to believe that the governor has major concerns about the IEDC and how they're spending their money. But yesterday, he was at the ribbon cutting, cheerleading one of the major, quote-unquote, purchases made by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. I think the average person looks at that and goes, I don't think we're going to get a fair shake as the public on what's going on with the IEDC.
And it happened just a month after he released that executive order for those financial disclosures of the IEDC. So what did he say? He was happy to join them for the groundbreaking of their medicine foundry in Lebanon. Not only will this foundry keep important research and manufacturing development here in the U.S., it will also provide Indiana with hundreds of new high-wage jobs.
Stop. Okay,
yes.
so let's talk about that for a second, because what's that account? Is it the Indy Reporter?
Indy Reporter, yeah.
Indy Reporter, I think, is that their handle on Twitter?
It is.
They did a deep dive yesterday. You can go see this, where they in real time started scrolling through the amount of HB1 visas that Eli Lilly employs, which would tend to give credence to what we have been saying for months on this show, which is you can no longer look at the idea of jobs as some sort of reason to spend public money behind a company, because in this case, you're likely looking at, as we've seen with previous Eli Lilly work endeavors, the jobs, not only coming from people out of state, they're coming from people out of the country.
Out of the country. So these jobs aren't necessarily going to be high-wage jobs for Hoosiers.
That's correct. So what you're looking at is you, a poorer middle-class person, is having hundreds of millions of dollars in all likelihood taken from your paychecks, your expenditures, and it is being put to facilitate a mega plant by a company with a market cap of nearing $800 billion. And many of the jobs that they are likely to hire are based on their previous trends, are going to come not only people from down in the states, like, hey, we're going to elevate the wages of all Hoosiers by 20% or 30%. It's going to go to people who aren't even from this country.
Correct.
Now, the problem with this, if Eli Lilly would like to object to that, then Eli Lilly can release all the data. How much public money they received. Why doesn't Eli Lilly come out and tell everybody? All of this is shrouded in mystery because they don't want you to know the truth.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now I want to mention that this is not all 100% negative, because it would be a good thing to have some medicine manufactured here in the United States. Currently, we get about 85 to 90% of amoxicillin comes from China, and that's a highly used medication. So to have that being manufactured here in Indiana, in the United States, I think that does benefit Americans.
And that's okay. But it's not my job as a state tax. Look, Eli Lilly ain't running a soup kitchen. They're not Little Sisters of the Poor. They're not the Salvation Army.
They don't need our help getting this real estate deal.
They're a for-profit entity. And if Eli Lilly wants to do business in the state of Indiana, there are applicable tax breaks, abatements, all of these sorts of things. But they have used a shadow government agency, a quasi-government entity, in which they know financial reporting is hard, if not impossible, to fully get and understand to facilitate this transaction. Why am I paying, are you paying, is Kevin paying hundreds of millions of dollars to enhance the Eli Lilly profit machine? Eli Lilly ain't giving the medicine away. It's not like there's some facility that every Hoosier can go to and say, hey, for your $200 million investment, everyone will receive medicine for free from Eli Lilly. That, unless that announcement was made with Mr. Braun and I missed it, you are paying your money so that this behemoth, this drug manufacturer, and you're right, Casey, there is merit. It is a worthwhile goal to produce drugs in this country. That's the job. That is a federal government discussion, though, if they want to do that. If you want to talk about production and maneuvering of medicine across state lines, that's a federal government discussion, because we're getting it all from all ends. You're getting this CHIPS Act, thanks to Todd Young, in which you're spending hundreds of billions of taxpayer dollars. I mean, it is hundreds of billions of dollars, not even hundreds of millions. It's hundreds of billions of dollars of federally printed money to bring these corporations back here. Then you've got the state side, the state of Indiana side, where you're spending hundreds of millions of dollars, which is the equivalent of hundreds of billions on the federal level, so that Eli Lilly will, produce medicine here. Where does this end? Why are the taxpayers paying for the most powerful corporations in the world? Why are they taking our money and giving it to them?
So after Governor Braun was at the groundbreaking of that medicine foundry in Lebanon, he made another stop, and we'll get to that next.
The comments are great. The guy wanted some ice cream, and everybody told him to rot in a hole and die. It was awesome.
It's 93 WIBC.
This May, you've got a chance to see what an IndyCar driver's dream garage really looks like. WIBC's Tales from the Track, presented by Relay Indiana, takes you inside Graham Ray Hall Performance, a high-octane hangout where racing meets luxury. Hammer and Nigel sit down with Graham for great stories, laughs, and insights from someone who grew up on the hallowed grounds of the IMS. But this backstage pass to speed, style, and surprises is sold out. The only place to register to win tickets is WIBC.com.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless leg syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 317-516-6861 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. 317-516-6861 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 317-516-6861 for fast, easy, affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinics treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 317-516-6861.
May 13th to 15th, Indy welcomes the Sweets and Snacks Expo, North America's largest candy and snacks event. 1,000 leading candy and snack companies will debut their latest and best-selling products alongside world-class education and standout events like Happy Hour at Gainbridge Fieldhouse and a live Indy 500 practice session. Retailers and distributors, register now and get 25% off at sweetsandsnacks.com/Indy. This is an industry event. If you're a fan of candy and snacks, you'll have to wait for the latest sweets and snacks to hit shelves.
The heart of a mom gives everything: her time, her love, her prayers. And just like Jesus showed us the power of selfless love, many moms and mother figures demonstrate it every day. Whether it's a hug, a call, or a simple thank you, let her know she's cherished. Consider bringing her to church. She would love the time with you to sit and consider the deep things of God. So celebrate her, celebrate love, and give thanks to the one who gave us both, Jesus. LifeChurchIN.com.
Hi, Jeff Roush for Tom Roush Lincoln. Right now, get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators, up to $8,000 off select 2024 Nautilus, or up to $7,000 off select 2024 Corsair at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Navigator MSRP 105,575, Nautilus MSRP 6195, Corsair MSRP 47,820. Offers good through May 31st, 2025. Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Here comes Halliburton. Hits the timeline with 7. Outside the arc with 5. In the lane at the goal. He lays it in. Milwaukee has no timeouts. They have to go the length. And this one is over. Unbelievable.
Your blue and gold have advanced to the Eastern Conference semifinals. Catch your Pacers as they collide with the Cavs Friday at 7:30. Get your tickets at Pacers.com/playoffs. Pacers playoffs presented by KeyBank, Kroger, and Starry.
Come and gather round, friends, and I'll tell you a tale of when the red iron ore pits run aplenty.
Well done, Kevin. Perfect choice for this. It's Kendall Casey show. I'm Rob Casey's here. Casey, would you like to hear a stat that will blow your mind?
Yes, please.
So one of the things we have talked about on this program at length over the past 5 years, and I remember when the women were still here, I tried to tell them this in real time, that you are seeing the complete overhaul of the American system and the American way of life in real time during COVID. And we have seen this play out over the last 5.5 years, where we, out of fear, gave away so much of what made us Americans, and it enriched two sets of people got made out really well during COVID: the super rich and the government. You gave away your freedom, your liberty, and most important, the lasting legacy is your buying power. We have seen the buying power of the American public, the average American, eradicated through inflation and price spikes during in a post-COVID world.
Yeah, we talk about how the middle class is disappearing.
And look at who got rich. Just take Indiana for an example. What happened during COVID? The housing prices spiked. So while momentarily, if you could get the loan at 2.5% or whatever the interest rate is, you could get into the house. Now you can't get out of the house because it's stuck. But what happened is all of those housing prices made the government rich. Property taxes, right? We're having this conversation to this day. Governments are still getting fat and happy, local governments, off inflated prices because of COVID. Statewide, look at the tens of billions of dollars that was thrown into the state and local governments by the federal government, the printing of money, the eradicating of your buying power. Look at the state of Indiana, where they grew the government by so much because they were so irresponsible with their money that now they can't balance their budget because they made so many legalized vote buying promises without raising taxes by close to $1 billion. Government got huge. It's not shrinking. It's not condensing back down. Your buying power is eradicated. Casey, the other side of that.
Yeah.
The megacorps,
The stats.
the super rich got it made out like bandits during COVID. Would you like to guess on May the 8th of 2020 what the market cap of Eli Lilly was? So essentially, 5 years ago to today, what the market cap of Eli Lilly was.
Well, weren't you just saying it was like 300 billion or something? 280 billion?
The market cap, would you like to, Price is Right rules. What is your guess, Casey? Remember, if you go over, you lose. What do you think the market cap?
I'm going to say 280.
280 billion. Kev, Showcase Showdown. What would you like to guess the market cap of Eli Lilly was?
I'm going to say 287.
You both have lost. I don't know what happens if both go over in the Showcase Showdown, who the winner is. $153.51 billion.
Okay.
It is today.
Yeah.
736. That's the stock price. The stock price of Eli Lilly, $153.51 billion. That's not the market cap. That's the stock price. The stock price today, $776.72.
Okay.
One more time. So if you bought Eli Lilly stock on May the 8th of 2020,
you were paying $154.
$154 a share. If you bought it today, $776. Is that right? Yes, that's right. It is up $623.21 or 405.97% over the past 5 years. Did your wealth, did your buying power
increase by 497%? Nearly 500%?
405.97, so almost 406% the past 5 years, with a market cap now of $736.13 billion.
Wow.
Let that sink in.
Yeah.
And yet these people claim to need hundreds of millions of Hoosier taxpayer dollars to fund basic real estate transactions.
Sure.
Again, your taxes are taken, that's your buying power, being eradicated, taken by the government, and given to these people who have seen a 406% increase in their stock valuation.
Wow, $736 billion.
Is their market cap.
That's incredible. They don't need our help.
And the governor then, despite supposedly having such concerns about the IEDC, which has funded this transaction and facilitated this transaction, that he's ordered a forensic audit,
right?
Goes to that ribbon-cutting, groundbreaking, whatever you want to call it yesterday, and celebrates this as some great accomplishment for the state, when in reality, all that happened yesterday is the further diluting of your buying power and using the diluting of your buying power to prop up this mega corporation, as has been done across this country and really around the world over the past 5 years.
Yeah, continues on. Okay, you had mentioned the CHIPS Act, and I wanted to bring this to your attention the other day when the Canadian Prime Minister was meeting with Trump. He had mentioned the CHIPS Act, and he was indirectly ripping on Todd Young.
The CHIPS Act was a ridiculous thing because that doesn't get them to build. All we did is hand very wealthy companies money. The CHIPS Act that was done by Biden, billions, we give them billions of dollars. They don't even have to do anything with it.
It's a ringing endorsement, isn't it? By the way, this is the number on the market cap. Here's the Eli Lilly market cap. What would we say would be the date of COVID? Would it be March? Well, there was a date, right?
March 12th, 2020.
March 12th. So for shortening purposes, will the audience accept March the 16th? Because that's a date that is on my little calendar here. Here's
we'll give that one.
What was the date that you said?
March 12th.
How about March the 9th?
Okay.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
March the 9th of 2020, the market cap of Eli Lilly was $126.58 billion.
Okay.
So doing a little math here.
Yeah.
what is that? Roughly, let's see, 736 divided by, what was that number I gave you?
126.5.
126.5. 5.8 times the market cap has grown in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
And this is what our governor goes out and celebrates, that a company whose market cap is 5.8 times greater, the stock price has gone up by 406%. He's out celebrating that they took money from you to help that company continue to grow.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is the supposedly fiscally responsible, above board Republican government that we have in our state.
Well, you nailed it. The Republican government, not conservative.
Right.
Republican.
All right, so
big difference.
I didn't mean to derail that segment, but a listener had sent that stock price to me, and then I was trying to look at the market cap and the stock price at the same time, and I saw both of them
to see how much they've grown.
And I just thought we have to tell that to our audience, because this is where your money's going.
Yeah.
Not bridges, not sidewalks, not roads. I mean, we're going to get to in a little bit how they're raising taxes to fund the roads, but $200 billion from a company whose stock price has gone up 406%.
We've got the news coming up next. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old person looking for term life insurance? Then you need to talk to Bob. Bob specializes in helping people find $1 million or more of term life insurance for a couple of $100 a month. Look, you need to know there's a price war in the term life insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call Bob, and he'll shop and see how much money he can save you. Look, this could be the last term life insurance policy you ever have. Your rates are guaranteed for the next 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rates for the next 20 years. And if you're a smoker or your health is not perfect, Bob has great rates for you too. So for $1 million of term life insurance coverage for a couple of $100 a month, call Bob right now. 800-890-5075. 800-890-5075. 800-890-5075. That's 800-890-5075. Paid for by Term Direct.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
A new trade deal in the works. You've got a cloudy sky, 61 on Monument Circle. Your high today, 72. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 9:31. President Trump confirming this morning that the U.S. has reached a trade deal with the United Kingdom.
The president says the first of many deals to come. The exact scope of this agreement is still not clear right now. He wrote earlier on Truth Social this. This agreement with the United Kingdom is a full and comprehensive one that will cement the relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom for many years to come. Because of our long history and allegiance together, it is a great honor to have the United Kingdom as our first announcement. Many other deals, which are in serious stages of negotiation, to follow.
Fox's Alexandria Hoff. This comes as more companies say American consumers will face higher prices because of the tariffs. It's possible we'll see a new pope announced today. The Cardinals have already voted twice on this second day of voting as black smoke continues to pour out of the Sistine Chapel's chimney. At least 2 more votes are to be made today, and a 2/3 majority is needed to elect a new pope. Your opening bill report on 93 WIBC brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management. The Dow is up 220 points to 41,113. As for the S&P 500, also up 42 points, 5631. And for the NASDAQ, it's up to 217 points at 19,867. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com.
It's May in Indiana, and I'm betting the floors in your home would appreciate a good cleaning. Hi, this is Denny Smith, and there is no better go-to resource for cleaning those floors than Zero-Res. They can handle virtually every surface in your home. Carpets, tile and grout, hardwood, laminate, stone, upholstery, rugs, even your air ducts. Before we get any closer to summer, you can get 3 rooms Zero-Resified for just $129, and you can take $75 off air duct cleaning too. Zero-Res means zero residue, and it's the water they use. They don't need soap or solvents to really clean your surfaces. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, just healthy, fresh surfaces. Zero-Res cleans our floors, and I'll tell you that it is simply amazing, and it works. Don't take my word for it. Just check out 4,900 plus 5-star Google reviews. Call now, mention WIBC, get 3 rooms cleaning starting at just $129 plus $75 off air duct cleaning. 317-388-5141, online at ZeroResIndy.com.
Here's why the Hammer and Nigel Show trusts Window Nation. I'm talking an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. Installers who specialize in Windows, many with over 15 years experience.
Window Nation, they've got the best deals and the best products. Their windows are energy efficient. The nasty weather stays outside. Your perfect climate stays inside. And Window Nation offers a lifetime warranty on all of their windows, so you can save long into the future. And right now, get 60% off a house full of windows. For 2 years, you won't have to pay anything. No down payment, no interest, no monthly payments. You pay nothing until 2027. And when you get a house full of windows, you'll also get a free entry door. 866-90-NATION. Call, talk to one of their representatives, ask about all the deals. 866-90-NATION, or go to windownation.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Hey, the spring selling season is here. Rates are down. Activity is up. Now is the best time in years to sell your home. However, some homes are sitting on the market. Hiring an expert who can maximize equity and minimize hassle is the key. That expert agent I recommend to sell your home is Mark Dietl. Perhaps you're worried you need costly repairs or upgrades to sell your home. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Tim and Becky in Bargersville had to say about working with Mark Dietl. We're ready to downsize. We tried the big national instant offer route and got jerked around because that company canceled the sale a week before closing. We called Mark Dietl to step in and help his team, and his team delivered big with multiple offers in 4 days, and we sold as is for the price we needed. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietl.com. It's Mark, Dietel.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
The most important advice I can give to someone regarding their heating and air conditioning system is for them to change their filters.
And get regular maintenance from B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
The tax increases are coming, as we told you they would. Never doubt us on this show. We know these people better than they know themselves. And then coming up in a little bit, we're going to talk about one of the little hidden tax increases that Braun and the Republicans the government now is bribing municipalities to raise your taxes, and that is the big takeaway from this year, is that they are forcing in some, they're making it almost impossible, knowing if you give a crack addict some crack, you can't go, well, I'm shocked the crack addict took the crack. Now, if you gave me crack, I would be like, get this out of my hand.
Sure.
But if you give crack addict crack, you know they're going to use the crack. Mm-hmm. And that's what the state has done this past year, is they have given local governments who they know are itching to raise your taxes every incentive to raise your taxes. We'll get into that in a little bit. But first, we got to laugh at Braun because he went to the Wawa yesterday.
He did go to the Wawa yesterday. He said he stopped by Indiana's new and first Wawa location for a milkshake.
Now, that's a gas station with a bunch of stuff in it, right?
I guess they're known for hoagies, coffee, and fresh food options.
Because they're building one in Brownsburg.
Yeah.
And I mean, am I right? It's like a low key Buc-ee's.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the stuff in it.
Yeah,
but it's not a monstrosity like the Buc-ee's.
Right. They're opening 160 stores across Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky over the next 5 to 8 years.
Yeah. Okay. So he went to the Wawa.
He did.
And he did the old man move where he got the ice cream.
Well, there's pictures of him up on X, and he's ordering at the self kiosk, and yeah, he said he'd ordered a milkshake. But the funny thing is, if you go down to the comments, somebody said, "Did you get Houston's permission to visit since you are his whipping boy now?"
By the way, let me just say this: the responses to Braun on Twitter and Facebook are the favorite part of my day now. Like every day I block off about 20 minutes at the end of the day just to go see whatever 3 or 4 posts he's made, because no matter what the post is, it's it
doesn't matter. This one is about ordering a milkshake at Wawa. And another comment: have you perhaps considered what these newfound Wawa employees are going to see on their property tax bill? I mean, he cannot get away from it. Another one: psst, what about those property taxes?
Good. And the thing I like about when I see these comments, it's from a lot of people I don't know. It's not political people. It's just regular people. And I love that the people have been so awakened to how this guy and these Republicans in the General Assembly screwed them, that every single post, he's 4 months into his term, and every single post is eat crap and die. I love it. I love it.
I just have to read these next two for you. Have one for us, too. We won't be able to afford it because of our high property taxes. And then this one, which, I mean, ties it all together in this nice ribbon. Well, Wawa and ribbon cutting. We trusted you on property taxes, and we are screwed. Never again.
Good. And this is the last thing I told him when I had that meeting with him, where they lied to me even about what was even in the bill. And I was like, you're going to get crushed. And they didn't want to listen. And here we go. And good. Keep it up for the next 4 years. You have to punish this guy every single opportunity because he knows what he did to you. They know what they did to you. They don't care.
He's just trying to make this innocuous post about a new business coming to Indiana, ordering a milkshake, and just boom.
People
are not having it.
Put baby into the corner and make it so that whoever's running that Twitter account is petrified to hit send on whatever the tweet is, because that's how you got it. And the great thing about Braun is, unlike Holcomb, who we could do this to Holcomb, and he goes, doesn't matter, all the Democrats like me, so it don't matter what you people do. Braun, the Democrats hate him. So there's nowhere for him to run. There's nowhere for him to go. He doesn't have a new group he can turn to. Make this guy miserable every single day. It takes 20 seconds to just post "you suck" on every post that he makes. And if that's all you do, great.
Okay, so the St. Joe County assessor, Michael Castleton, he had a press conference yesterday, and he was addressing the property tax assessments and also the appeals process. And I believe he's only been in that position for maybe 2.5 years. And he went through and listed the 4 main reasons why the assessments are so high.
Yes.
Do you want to take a listen?
Absolutely.
All
This
right.
seems very uplifting.
Here we go.
We want to give a bit of information for the taxpayer and then, of course, for the media as well to make sure that we're putting out the right information to the taxpayers. So, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, fellow residents, thank you for being here today. I'd like to speak to you directly, the hardworking taxpayers of St. Joseph County, to provide clarity and context about changes in property assessments.
So he said that the properties were overassessed. He said the COVID-19 market disruptions drove home prices to unrealistic levels. He said inflation and rising construction costs were part of the reason why the values were so high. He said the cost tables were updated with 4 years of inflation in one single year, which raised the assessments. And then he also said that the historically inaccurate data collection was part of the reason
Okay,
why.
what were the things again?
He said the COVID-19 market disruptions.
Okay, so pause. Again, what did we open our show with?
Yeah.
That's
same.
exactly what we just told you about how your buying power got diluted during COVID. Okay, right, check. Okay, very good.
He said inflation and rising construction costs.
They printed a bunch of money. They allowed the governments to get very big and powerful, state, local, and federal. Okay, check. He's checked both of the boxes of what we talked about so far today.
He said the state cost tables updated with 4 years of inflation happened in a single year, which raised the assessments.
Yes, that's right, because the government rigged the game to where money was so cheap that not only did people feel. So this is interesting. I had a conversation with the realtor friend the other day, and we were talking about just this issue. And he said one of the things, because he talked about how the market in the post cheap interest rate, how it really was injured. And he said one of the things about why he speculates people bought so many homes was not just cheap money, but they they were so locked into where they lived in the sense of you couldn't leave your home that people physically got sick of the house they were in because they were in it so much. They said, I've got to do something different. And I thought that was fascinating. That's another example of how government policies, which government locking you in your home did nothing to stop COVID. COVID did what viruses always do, and that stupid vaccine and everything else, none of it stopped anything. Casey, would you like to vouch for how the vaccine affected your family?
Not good.
Yes. And so check another box of what we told you about how you got screwed and megacorps made out like bandits because they could get all these houses and buy all these. Okay, that's the third one. Yep, we're 3 for 3. What's the last one? Is there a last one?
He said historically inaccurate data collection.
Historically inaccurate data. Now, I don't know if he means...
That's a lack of transparency.
Yeah, I don't know if he means, though, with that, and we'd have to go back and listen to the clip, that the information... I'm assuming he means when you say lack of transparency. So when someone assesses your... Let's go through the actual assessment process when we come back, shall we?
Well, he was talking about how from the outside, they can't tell.
Thank you. Yes, that's my point.
Yeah.
I want to explain to people how you're...
Like, unless they go into your home and look around.
I get asked this all the time about how the assessment process actually works and the errors that occur in the... Let's talk about that when we come back, shall we? About how ridiculous the assessment process actually is and who's actually doing the assessments.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show. Rocker Brett Michaels calls in. Senator Jim Banks. Rob Kendall off the rails. Lots of prizes and giveaways. Let's go. 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and 1-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 6/22/25, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, a Humana Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan, a DSNP, may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A DSNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials too. With a Humana DSNP, you get $225 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at GetHumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the Indiana Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today, talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ziprecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free.
Check out what's going on with 93 WIBC.
Listen to Hammer and Nigel all week for your chance to win tickets to the PPG Armed Forces qualifying on May 17th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. More info at WIBC.com.
Okay, so let's talk about assessments for a minute, shall we?
Okay.
Because we played part of that clip and it got a little screwy, but the St. Joseph assessor came out and essentially said what we've been saying. The system's broken. Senate Bill 1 doesn't help this process. The reality in this state is you are taxed on an unrealized capital gain. And that is that your taxes go up based on what someone else sold their house, in this case their stock, for. So you think about on Wall Street, how does a price of a stock go up, right? There's earnings, there's all these things, but then how much people sell the stock for, what somebody's willing to buy it for, raises the price of everybody else's stock, which is a good thing for you because you're not taxed on it until you monetize the thing. As long as that stock sits in your portfolio, there's no taxes to be paid because you haven't made any money on it. And the Republicans, when Kamala Harris came out last year and proposed changing that to tax people like Elon Musk based on whether their stock went up or down, they screamed bloody murder, including Republicans in Indiana. They called her Marxist, a communist, blah, blah, blah. They do the same thing here, where some guy down the street from you cashes out, sells his home, makes money, and then you have to pay more taxes because of that. That is literally the system we have in the state of Indiana. Does that make any sense to anyone?
No. Now, this Castleton, he went on to say that Senate Bill 1...
That's the St. Joseph County Assessor.
The St. Joe County Assessor, Northern Indiana. He went on to say that Senate Bill 1 doesn't adequately address transparency, fairness, stability, because he mentioned the mass appraisals, which lead to these broad market fluctuations, which is what you're talking about.
Stop on that for a second, because people need to realize that when you get your house assessed, how this process works, the county assessor, who is an elected person, is not physically going out to your house. They're not, the county assessor or even their immediate people are not walking out to your house. You think about in a county where I live, like Hendricks County, you're talking hundreds of thousands of properties or whatever. There's no way they could physically do that. What they do is they work off of a blueprint, and when you do major renovations, depending on where you live to your house, building permits, etc., they look at that. Have you done any of that? So that you have your assessment from the year before. Have you done any upgrades that they can verify based on permits you're required to pull from your municipality? They factor that in. They look at what homes sold around you for, and then they send people out, in many cases, the actual assessment. They send hired people, oftentimes college kids, out to do visual inspections of your home and mark things on a piece of paper based on if the visual inspection matches what is currently on the piece of paper.
Yes.
That you tell me, would you trust a college kid
to assess my house? No. And he even said, here's the problem that happens when they do walk around is they're looking on the outside. They're not actually physically in the house. So if you've done something, they don't really know.
Unless they will review town or city permitting or county permitting to see that. So like Nigel had his basement redone a couple of years ago.
Right.
Well, he had to pull all this permitting for that. So they know on his assessment, because he had to get all this stuff done, we can raise the assessed value on his house X amount of dollars based on the permitting that was pulled to do that repair. So what you're basically encouraging is a black market in which people don't do things above board, because doing things above board will get your taxes raised. That's what they're doing by the way the assessment process actually works.
And that's what he was saying. Now, he mentioned he's going to be holding some more public forums to further discuss the assessment process. But the county assessors becoming very popular right now. And this guy was saying they're so understaffed that they don't have the people to man the calls that they're getting now.
And this is what the General Assembly, the governor has done. And we're going to talk about next segment about these tax increases, where they are voiding themselves of responsibility that have always been their responsibility. They are voiding themselves of responsibility, and they are passing not only the obligation but the blame onto these local people without giving them the resources to be able to do their jobs. It's exactly what they did with prison reform 10 or 12 years ago, or whatever it's been now, where they had run out of places for people in the state correctional facilities, and they said, we got to do something about it. Well, the logical answer would be, hey, victimless crimes like marijuana, low-level offenders, just let them go and don't criminalize them anymore. No, there's revenue to be made off that. We can't do that. So what they did is they sent those people down to the county jails, and the county said, well, okay, you're going to pay for us to house these people. No, that's your problem now. So it was like Office Space. They just eliminated the paycheck. The guy was still there. Milton was still in the basement. In this case, the criminal still had to be dealt with. They just didn't pay for it anymore.
No salt on the margarita. No salt. All right, so wheel tax and excise tax. Should we talk about that coming up? Sounds like fun. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros, and a sincere thank you to our loyal customers for helping us to another record year. We recently saved a 62-year-old retiring couple over $800 monthly when compared to their COBRA offerings. We recently saved a family of 4 over $400 monthly when compared to their $7,500 deductible program on the ACA, and that's still Obamacare. We recently saved a small 4-man manufacturing company over $1,000 monthly and gave them better coverage. We feature coverages guaranteed to age 65, low out-of-pocket expenses, the largest networks in the country, and you can sign up anytime. If you are retiring early, self-employed, or need coverage for your small group, call us at 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. If you don't call us, we can't help you. What do you got to lose? Call us, 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. As always, God bless America, common sense government, and peace through strength.
Hey guys, it's Rob for my friends at We Grow Hair Indy. The Indy 500 is coming up. Lots of hats out there. For me, I say, why wear a hat when I have hair, thanks to my friends at We Grow Hair Indy. Call my friends at We Grow Hair Indy for your free evaluation today at 317-522-2995. That's 317-522-2995. Or visit WeGrowHairIndy.com. That's WeGrowHairIndy.com to see how other people have been able to ditch their hats and get their confidence back with a brand new head of hair. Get your hairline back, whether it's multi-unit hair grafting or their Artist Robotic FUE. We Grow Hair Indy has every proven solution to restore your hair. Go to WeGrowHairIndy.com right now to get a free evaluation. WeGrowHairIndy.com. Call today, 317-522-2995. That's 317-522-2995. And tell them Rob sent you.
Big Joe here for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical.
With a B&W Premier Club membership, you'll stay ahead of breakdowns and costly repairs. Our members get routine maintenance, priority scheduling, and exclusive discounts, saving you money and keeping your family comfortable all season long. Visit bplusw.com or call 317-214-0108 for more information.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard dealer since 1961.
Spring is here, and Dammons is full speed ahead with endless plant production of perennials, annuals, hanging baskets, roses, and planters. Trucks are arriving with fresh trees and shrubs. Dammons' friendly staff is ready to assist you and get you the help you need. So for any of your gardening needs, experience Dammons South on Emerson Avenue and Dammons West on Rockville Road.
Dammons Lawn and Garden, Indiana's most complete garden center.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
What is 988?
It's a free 24-hour suicide and crisis lifeline.
And what is a crisis?
Maybe something you experience so often.
You don't even think it's a crisis.
Anxiety over money.
A stressful relationship.
Concerns about a loved one's mental health.
If you are experiencing thoughts of suicide or mental health or substance use crisis, call or text 988.
It's a listening ear.
And it's a way forward.
In 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, a search for a hit-and-run suspect that killed a child on Indy's southeast side. The governor signing a marijuana-related bill this week, and more reaction to property taxes. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
You'll have many. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what President Trump posted on Truth Social this morning, touting a trade agreement with Britain. He'll detail this hour at the White House, where Fox's Alexandria Hoff reads what the president wrote.
Because of our longtime history and allegiance together, it is a great honor to have the United Kingdom as our first announcement. Many other deals which are in serious stages of negotiation to follow. At London's defense conference this morning, honoring VE Day, Prime Minister Starmer said he's going to be providing more details as well today, adding, quote, "Make no mistake, I will always act in our national interest." Currently, the UK is subject to 25% levies on steel, aluminum, and cars and falls under that 10% global tariff.
She mentioned VE Day, marking 80 years since the Nazis surrendered, ended in World War II in Europe. Now, Russia is honoring that, starting a 72-hour ceasefire in Ukraine. Or is it? Ukraine accuses Russia of violating that hundreds of times already and launching attacks. Now to the Vatican, where cardinals voting in secret sent up black smoke earlier this morning. Fox's Alex Hogan is there.
And a lot of people continuing to gather behind me in the square as we approach another window of when we could see smoke on day 2 of this conclave. As you mentioned, black smoke billowed out of the chimney of the Sistine Chapel a couple hours ago. This is the second time that we have seen black smoke, meaning that so far the 133 cardinals have voted 3 times without reaching a 2/3 majority.
Now, whenever they do, we'll see white smoke indicating they have selected a new pope. It's calm at Columbia the morning after another pro-Palestinian protest. More than 80 of those anti-Israel demonstrators ended up in handcuffs, arrested.
When those students pushed their way inside while people were trying to study at the library, the security guard said, hand over your student ID cards or any ID and take off your masks. When they didn't, they said, fine, we're calling in the NYPD.
That's Fox's Alexis McAdams at Columbia in New York City. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A child killed in a hit and run. Mostly cloudy, 63 on Monument Circle. Showers and storms possible this afternoon. High today, 72. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:02. The driver in a deadly hit and run is still at large. Indianapolis police say that person killed a child and seriously injured 2 adults when they collided with a vehicle and a bicycle Wednesday night near South State Avenue and East Raymond Street. Police say the driver was in a white Dodge Charger when they sped through a red light and crashed into a woman in one car and then a man on a bike with a child inside a seat attachment. That child was pronounced dead later at a hospital. A ban on marijuana advertising is in effect in the state. Johnette Cruz reports.
Indiana Governor Mike Braun has signed a sweeping ban on marijuana advertising effective immediately. House Bill 1390 targets ads from neighboring states like Illinois, Michigan, and Ohio, where recreational marijuana is legal. The ban covers all media, including social media and web ads, although existing ad contracts are grandfathered in until 2035. The Attorney General's office will enforce the ban with fines starting at $5,000. Johnette Cruz, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
If you're not a fan of the property tax bill signed into law by Governor Mike Braun, you would be in agreement with St. Joseph County Assessor Michael Castellone. He's part of what he said at a news conference on Wednesday.
Recently, the state passed Senate Bill 1 in response to concerns for communities across Indiana. While I appreciate the effort to improve the system, I believe the bill doesn't go far enough in addressing the issues that matter most to taxpayers.
He added that people in his area tell him they want transparency, assessment stability, and fairness. Marking the beginning of practice and also qualifying for the Sancio Grand Prix on the IMS road course. That's Friday. Alex Palou is hoping to notch another win on the season.
It's one of those races where normally you can see very different strategies playing out. You have some moments you're getting attacked and there's not much you can do. And there's other phases of the race where you can just go crazy.
There he is talking to IndyCar.com. Palou has won the last 2 races on the road course and has won 3 of the season's first 4 races. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com. Kendall and Casey back in 1 minute.
If you love spring and Indy but hate the paint, do what Lynn did. She called Rhino Shield.
It is a single-wide manufactured home. We moved from our home, which we had the Rhino Shield on. Rhino Shield was what we were going to do. That was no question. We knew we were going to do it.
Rhino Shield's a ceramic coating. It's not paint, it's better.
The Rhino Shield representative came and we discussed what we wanted done. And this time, we had the roof done as well.
Now, you can have the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
Even the people that have been a little younger than us have said they don't have to worry about getting just an everyday painter because Rhino Shield has the 25-year warranty, and we truly believe in this product.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by B&W HVAC, Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
All right, so we've got to get to all of these taxes that are about to go up because of these laws passed by the Republicans and Braun. But I need more time than we probably have this segment to get into it because it's so evil and it's complex enough that I need more than the few minutes we've got here to do it.
Need more time.
So we'll do it at 10:30.
Okay.
Because we got Nikki Kelly coming up next. She's really got some great information on this lawsuit in order to get the media to be able to view executions in the state of Indiana. I want to give her plenty of time to talk about that because I think that's important. So in lieu of us needing more time to talk about the tax increases and just having a short amount of time in this segment, why don't we spend it crapping all over Todd Rokita and Diego Morales? How about that? Does that seem fair?
Yes.
Fun?
They're twinning these days, aren't they?
Okay, so let's remind everybody that Todd Rokita is the chief law enforcement officer for the state of Indiana. His job is to investigate and uphold the rules and regulations of the state of Indiana, right? That's his primary job. 90% of what Rokita does is bullcrap, which is why I can't stand the guy. Like, he wants to be everything but the job he actually has, which is a guy who keeps his mouth shut and just quietly goes about administering our laws and regulations. But one of the major issues right now, and this is a very serious issue, in front of the Secretary of State, Diego Morales, is he took this mysterious trip to India and refuses to tell anyone who paid for it.
Who paid for it, right. And he was traveling with somebody who was selling HB1 visas.
HB5.
HB5 visas.
Right. Yeah, keep in mind, we know for a fact that Raju Shanthala went on this trip with Diego Morales, who has a contract with Diego's office. We believe it's $80,000. And he was on Facebook while Diego was in India with Diego talking about how he was going to be selling EB5 visa access. I believe the number was $800,000.
Yeah.
And we know that Diego, according to the Indy Star, Diego met with the mayor of that, I believe it's a city, where Raju said he was going to be selling the EB5 visa access.
Correct.
Right? So if anyone should have giant red flags up, if anybody should, I thought Rokita was this fighter. He's an investigator. He's going to get to the bottom of things. If anybody should be keeping themselves as far away from Diego Morales as humanly possible, just on the India trip alone, it would be Todd Rokita. Keep in mind, we've got all the things about alleged pay for play where these companies get no bid contracts and then they end up giving huge amounts of money to his campaign. You've got just a highly unethical hiring of the brother-in-law and the spot bonus. You've got, you have no idea how this guy earned his living all of these things.
The excessive bonuses.
Right. Todd Rokita should be avoiding Diego Morales like the plague, especially given the fact that at some point, theoretically, he could, because we all know whether it's in his boundaries or not, Rokita just makes up and does whatever he wants to do based on political expedience of the moment. He could end up investigating Diego. Remember when, here's how serious Rokita's office actually views Diego. Remember when we went to the State House and passed out our questions to all the statewide office holders?
Yeah.
Rokita either wasn't there or refused to come out. We don't know.
Yeah.
And by the way, I've never met a guy that is more of a Billy Badass behind closed doors and says horrible, awful things about me, unprompted in many cases, than Todd Rokita. By the way, Todd, your staff talks. And then won't come on this show. He won't man up. He won't face me. That guy is a colossal fraudster, a fraudster of epic proportions. But remember the guy in Rokita's office told us, and you were there as a witness.
His front desk guy.
Yes, the guy manning the front desk. Said,
I know his name. Does it matter?
No, we don't need to say his name because he's an innocent victim in all this. He didn't do anything wrong. In fact, he was trying to help us.
Yeah.
He said the Diego stuff is serious enough. You should go to the Inspector General's office.
Right.
That was a representative of Rokita's office. You witnessed him tell me this, that we should go to the Inspector General and file a complaint related to Diego.
Correct.
And yet, yesterday, Todd Rokita came out and endorsed Diego Morales for Secretary of State.
He did. Diego Morales said that he was very proud to have the support and endorsement of his friend and colleague, Attorney General Todd Rokita. Would you like to hear what Todd Rokita said about Diego Morales?
Oh, boy, throw it on me, Case.
Okay, Attorney General Todd Rokita endorses Diego Morales for re-election as Indiana Secretary of State. Here's the quote. Since taking office, Diego has been working tirelessly for the people of Indiana. I see this firsthand as we are working together in the fight to keep non-citizens out of Indiana elections. I am proud to endorse Diego Morales in his re-election for Indiana Secretary of State. Signed with love and hearts, Todd Rokita, Indiana Attorney General.
Okay, so wait. So my first question to Todd Rokita would be, what illegals were voting in Indiana's elections under the previous Secretary of State? Is it when you were Secretary of State, Todd?
Oh.
Were there illegals voting in the elections?
Is this an admission?
When Connie Lawson was Secretary of State, are you indicting the job Connie Lawson did? When Holly Sullivan was Secretary of State? Who are these illegals that were mass voting in Indiana elections that are now not voting because of Diego? I hear this all the time. See, this is what these guys do. They use the power of fear so you won't pay attention to the crappy job they're actually doing. We had David Shelton on yesterday. Of course, he's running against Diego, but he's not a grenade thrower. And he said Diego has no idea what he's doing as Secretary of State. He's horrible administering elections. David Shelton is the Knox County clerk and said, I have no idea what this guy is doing as an actual election administrator. Who are, Todd, show me the list of illegal immigrants who voted in elections under Holly Sullivan and Connie Lawson. And show me the list under you, Todd, of who the illegal immigrants are who were proven to have voted in Indiana elections. I bet he can't do it, but he uses it as a buzz, as a roadblock to keep you from paying attention, people like Rokita do, to the fact that he may be on the verge of losing his law license because he's a complete and utter buffoon. But that's another issue. The bigger issue is you're now getting an admission from the Indiana Attorney General, the chief law enforcement officer for the state, that he is not going to lift a finger, despite the guy in his own office telling us go to the Inspector General. It's serious enough to go to the Inspector General, that he's not going to lift a finger to figure out what Diego did in India or who paid for it.
Correct. They're working on this project together, so now they're friends.
To root out all the illegal immigrants who didn't vote in the last election. Again, where's the list? Show me the list, the names. I want names so that Trump can go round these people up. Who are these illegal immigrants that it's so vital to keep Diego and that you're willing to ignore, Todd, all of this other stuff and the Diego has to stay in there? Now, Casey, would you like to know, I now have I think it's moved past a working theory. I mean, I'm pretty wed to this at this point unless somebody can disprove it. Okay, would you like to hear now why I believe no one, including Todd Rokita, will lift a finger to figure out what Diego Morales did in India and who paid for it?
Sure.
At this point, the fact that no one, including Micah, including Braun, I mean, Diego totally big-timed Braun. How could you let that little twerp
on his economic development trip
stick both of his middle fingers right in your face? You're the governor, and he's done nothing.
Well,
and the only logical explanation, if you're Houston, if you're Bray, he's doing this to all of you people. The only logical explanation and reasonable conclusion that someone could come to is that they know who funded that trip to India.
And they're okay with it because possibly they're getting some of the campaign contributions themselves.
That's right. That the people who funded Diego's trip to India, and by the way, Diego could put all of this to bed tomorrow, and if that's not true, and come out and say who funded his trip to India, which he will not do.
What's the problem? Just answer the question.
That's all we want to know.
Who paid for your trip to India?
Who gave you the money to go? Because you've admitted somebody paid for it. You've admitted it wasn't you. You won't, because they in the answers to us, they use the word donors, right? Wasn't that the word that they used? Sponsors, donors?
Sponsor, I believe.
Okay. That somebody paid for that trip other than Diego. So the only logical reason that the governor would allow himself to be totally emasculated by this complete con artist, this totally corrupt, unethical person, is that they know who gave the money for him to go, and somehow these politicians are tied into it through campaign donations or whatever. And I bet if you could figure out who paid for Diego to go on that trip, that a whole bunch of these dudes, you would find that money through like-minded people or the same people or companies or whatever have ended up in campaign contributions to these politicians, and they ain't dare going to upset that apple cart.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time, because going back to those no-bid contracts, Morales' office awarded over $4 million in contracts to IT firms, Clean Slate Technology, and also MTX Group, without getting competitive bidding, right? And the executives from those companies made significant donations to Morales' reelection campaign shortly after the contracts were signed. Same companies also made contributions to Braun and I believe also Rokita.
Now to you, Todd Rokita, you big chicken. Why don't you man up? No need to talk about me behind closed doors. Your staff all hates you. They talk about you all the time. The track record of you dating back to your behavior. And by the way, we forgot to mention, Rokita, according to paperwork, fired Diego when he worked for him as the Secretary of State.
That's true. And now he's endorsing him.
Todd Rokita is endorsing a guy that paperwork says was such a buffoon he had to fire him as the Secretary of State. That's your fighter. So, Todd.
What's going on there?
Stop talking about me behind closed doors. It always gets back to me. Man up. You go on Hammer and Nigel. You go on with Tony. Man up. Come in here and let's have a conversation for everyone. Why are you such a Billy badass and tough guy with everybody but me? Why are you afraid of me? It's kind of sad.
Nikki Kelly is going to join us next from the Indiana Capitol Chronicle. It's 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
Why is there only 3 bourbons? Why isn't it 100 bourbons in 100 days?
Because you're not paying for it.
All right, that's still good, though.
That is Tara Hastings bringing you 100 bourbons.
I trust you.
Well, thank you for that ringing endorsement.
You're good enough, you're strong enough, and gosh darn it, people like you.
If that is not in a WIBC promo by the end of the day, David Wood, program director, I'm firing everybody. I have no authority to fire anybody, but I'm doing it.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,000 off select compact tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Stop by McAllister Machinery in Fishers and Indianapolis to see their full line of Kubota, or visit them online at McAllisterKubota.com.
This is Indianapolis. All around town, the checkered flags are out, porch parties abound, and everyone's invited. And this is the Indy 500, where we see what humans can accomplish in concert with twin turbocharged V6 engines and Firestone tires. This is the Brickyard, where they've been racing since before any of us were born. This is Speed City. Welcome to May.
Hey folks, Scott Wilson here from Wilson Farm Market. Even in winter, we're bringing you the best in farm fresh flavors. Stop in for our fresh salad bar, hot and crispy wing bar, and a cheese selection that is second to none. Got a sweet tooth? Our homemade pies, creamy fudge, and old-fashioned candy will hit the spot. Come see us on US 31 just north of Carmel. We're open every day 9 to 6. At Wilson Farm Market, we're all about fresh, local, and delicious. See you soon.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/today. Ethos.com/today.
Here comes Halliburton. Hits the timeline with 7. Outside the arc with 5. In the lane at the goal. He lays it in. Milwaukee has no timeouts. They have to go the length. And this one is over. Unbelievable.
Your blue and gold have advanced to the Eastern Conference semifinals. Catch your Pacers as they collide with the Cavs Friday at 7:30. Get your tickets at pacers.com/playoffs. Pacers playoffs presented by KeyBank, Kroger, and Starry.
This May, you can be a hero at the finish line. Say yes to organ donation and talk to your family about your decision. A message from Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives.
Gambler man rolls the dice, working man pays the bill. It's still fat and easy up on Bankers Hill. Up on Bankers Hill, the party's going strong. Down here below, we're shackled and drawn.
Casey, the session may be over, but there is still a lot going on as it relates to Indiana politics and government.
Yes, this is true, Rob.
And one of the things that's super interesting we touched on yesterday is there is a coalition of media outlets, which we're in big support of, that are banding together to sue to be able to witness executions in the state of Indiana.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday, and it seems that Indiana Capitol Chronicle is kind of spearheading this movement.
Yeah, and we think this is great. Look, if our tax dollars are going to pay for something, the media should be able to report on it. And joining us now, she does every Thursday, one of the best reporters in the business from the aforementioned Indiana Capitol Chronicle. Nikki Kelly joins us now. Nikki Kelly, hello.
Good morning.
All right, so let's talk about this. Casey and I got into it yesterday. We're big supporters of you and the Star, and I think WTHR and a couple others have banded together with this lawsuit to try to be able to witness executions in the state of Indiana. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, basically, Indiana is an outlier of the death penalty states. We're one of only 2 states that specifically don't allow media. And we feel there needs to be an independent witness in there. Obviously, when you're following a murder case, you get to follow the entire thing publicly and transparently until we get to this most important, level, the most serious thing a government can do, and then they shut, the public out. And so we feel that that's wrong.
Have you been given a reason why they don't allow the media to view the executions?
Well, to be fair, they are following state law, and that, state law says it sets up pretty clearly, like, the condemned can have this many people, the victims get this many slots, and it says shall only, But we obviously think that's a violation of the First Amendment and trying to get that changed.
Right, and I agree with that those who carry out the execution are just following the law. But you guys kind of track the history of this. Have you been able to figure out why the state law says that the media can't view something that's funded by the state?
My guess in looking a little in the past is that that's kind of how it was initially. And then other states modernized and Indiana didn't, especially since we had this 15-year layoff where we couldn't get the drugs and we had no executions. I think a lot of other states changed their laws during that period, but we didn't. And so now we're at a point where we're starting to back up again, and suddenly Indiana is, on the the wrong side of that.
Nikki Kelly from Indiana Capitol Chronicle is on with us. Was there a catalyst to this lawsuit?
Well, I mean, really, the catalyst is that they started executions back up again,
Yeah.
and I don't think we realized, at least I didn't, how much of an outlier we were. The federal government allows it. All the other states have these processes where reporters can get in there to be the eyes and ears of the public, and Indiana just doesn't.
So this lawsuit is also in partnership with the AP and Circle City Broadcasting, Gannett, and also Tegna. I'm wondering, can you tell us how has that relationship been? Because typically you're competitors.
Yeah, but I think reporters, media outlets have definitely formed together to access issues before. That's something we all believe in. I think AP was, probably at the forefront, and we're working with the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press to go through the process, and they've helped us all get together on that.
Okay, so what happens now? Because there's an execution scheduled for May the 20th. Do you guys think you'll have a ruling on this before the what could be, if everything stays on track, the execution of the Benjamin Ritchie, the cop killer?
Yeah, well, we hope to. Obviously, there's probably more stuff going to be coming out, and that's why we wanted to get it filed pretty quickly because of the May 20th execution date.
Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capitol Chronicle, our guest. You guys had an interesting article yesterday about the ACLU suing over the governor now being able to appoint all of the trustees at IU. First of all, do you guys know, because this was a last-minute thing that was added into the budget, it's gotten all sorts of controversy, it didn't get a hearing or anything. Have you guys been able to track how or why this even happened?
Yeah, no one is talking about why. There are lots of rumors out there about maybe Pamela Whitten herself wanted it because, maybe she didn't like some of the members on the board.
She's the president of IU, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
But no one has said where it came from, which I think is telling in itself. If you're not willing to share where an idea came from, that's concerning. The lawsuit itself, just points out they're using a constitutional provision that doesn't allow for special legislation. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, that provision rarely, if ever, works in court cases. So, but they do point out, every other four-year public institution in the state is allowed to have alumni representation, and this really treats IU differently.
You hit on this a couple of weeks ago in an article you did, or a column you did, about why people don't engage in the legislative process. And I think you talked about kind of these exact things where this is a pretty big issue. Indiana obviously gets a lot of public money, and this thing happens behind closed doors at the very end of the session without any testimony or input or vetting. And people just kind of say, what's the point of participating if they're just going to make it all up at the end?
I mean, yeah, this definitely does hurt the credibility of the institution. And, I think all government institutions have seen a reduction in, sort of faith or trust. And it doesn't help when you throw stuff at the end and no one's willing to answer questions about it or explain why it's being handled so differently than everything else.
Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capitol Chronicle is our guest. Two things before we go. One, the governor, and Casey and I touched on this earlier. He was at this big unveiling, ribbon cutting, whatever you want to call it, from Lilly. You guys have been at the forefront of investigating at the Capitol Chronicle, the IEDC. Braun has ordered this audit. You see this, and it seems like, well, they're pretty invested in the things the IEDC is doing for them, saying, oh, this audit could reveal all these shenanigans. Is there a sense that you guys have, because you guys know the whatever you can get out of the IEDC, which isn't much better than maybe anybody, is there any optimism that this audit is actually going to tell us what's going on with the money?
I think there is. The fact that he's willing to call for a forensic audit, even if they're paying for it, I think it's going to be hard for them to hide some things. And so I do think there should be optimism by people because he's at least willing to ask hard questions as this, the IEDC originally, it's grown in its scope and the amount of money it's pushing through, the way it's pushing economic development. Obviously, he's going to show up to a groundbreaking for Indiana's largest employer. So, I don't think that means he doesn't, support that audit. I think that project was obviously done before he got in here, and he's not going to spite a well-known employer in the state.
See, that's where we're different, Nikki. I totally would spite a well-known employer.
Nikki, do you think they'll find anything?
I don't know. I mean, this Elevate Ventures, which is the main thing that caught everyone's attention, I get stuff every day from people pointing out insane salaries and conflicts. I certainly think there will be some findings in that particular kind of offshoot. I'm not sure what they'll find in the full IEDC world, but and obviously we got some initial data out of the IEDC Foundation now on what they've collected and what they've spent. We're still hoping to get even more, like what did you spend it on specifically? Who gave you the money? So we're still hoping to get more on that.
One other thing, and we had to tape your interview because you got some fabulous days off last week ahead of this, what took place. But Gabe Whitley was sentenced to federal prison last week. He's, of course, the failed congressional candidate who just lied over and over and over again about these imaginary donors and money. And I wanted to thank you, Nikki, in the Capitol Chronicle, because you were the first person I reached out to when we started uncovering the stuff on Gabe. And you and your staff really led that initial article that I think got a lot of people in the mainstream media's attention. And I think that attention is what ultimately led to him being convicted. And so I wanted to say thank you to you guys, because you didn't have to do that. You guys put a lot of resources and effort into that. And the taxpayers owe you guys a big thank you for exposing that guy and what he did.
Well, thanks. And I got to give all the credit to Casey Smith, who did all that work. And also, I can't not point out that she was named Indiana Journalist of the Year.
Yeah, congratulations on your awards.
See, what a boss. She just weaved that
I know.
right in there.
She did.
Nikki Kelly from the Capitol Chronicle, you're the best. Thank you.
All right. You guys have a good day.
Yeah, you too. It is Kendall Casey on 93 WIBC.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
President's big announcement today. It's cloudy, 65 degrees on Monument Circle. Showers and thunderstorms in the area for this afternoon possible. The high today, 72. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:31. President Trump says they've reached a trade deal with the United Kingdom. He calls it a full and comprehensive one that will cement the relationship between the two for many years to come. The president holding a news conference, at least expected to, this hour. No new pope announced just yet. Fox's Alex Hogan is at the Vatican.
We did see some black smoke earlier, and that means that there were 2 votes that were conducted this morning. Neither of those votes was successful. The Cardinals will vote 4 times per day, twice before lunch and twice after. They will eat 3 meals together, and they will have some free time to spend in their rooms or on walks, but they will have no contact with the outside world until a new pope is selected.
Meanwhile, a swarm of pro-Palestinian protesters forcing their way into the library at Columbia University on Wednesday. That led to around 80 arrests being made. The protesters calling on the school to cut financial ties with Israel amid a war in Gaza. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text ENERGY to 425
42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text ENRGY to 42424. That's energy to 42424.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
You may be feeling indigent because the government is taking all of your money through taxes. And I know you're sitting there right now going, Rob, there's no way I can afford to upgrade my windows this year, even though my home really needs it. That's where you're wrong. Enter Universal Windows Direct and their home improvement season sale. Listen to the 3-part plan they've got to put you in great windows in your home. 50% off your windows. That's number one. Yes, that's right. Half off. Then, on top of that, 12 months, no interest, no payments. And last, but certainly not least, a free entry door with your window purchase. So let's review, right? I can't even believe this is a sale so great I can't believe it's legal. You got 50% off your windows, half off, 12 months, no interest, no payments, and a free entry door with your window purchase. Now, some restrictions may apply, so to get all the details, and most importantly, schedule your totally free in-home estimate, call Universal Windows Direct today, 317-659-7574. 317-659-7574. Check them out on the web, universalwindowsdirect.com. universalwindowsdirect.com, 317-659-7574. Tell them Rob sent you.
Rob Thomas. Live in concert. The All Night Days Tour. Rob Thomas performing for one incredible night. Everwise Amphitheater at White River State Park, Friday, August 22nd, with special guest, A Great Big World. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Rob Thomas, live in Indianapolis. For more, visit robthomasmusic.com. Part of the Jack Daniels Concert Series.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, a Humana Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan, a D-SNP, may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A D-SNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials, too. With a Humana D-SNP, you get $225 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at GetHumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the Indiana Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
B&W's Premier Club membership goes a long way to prevent heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical problems. Go to bplusw.com.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard Air dealer.
The Attorney General's Unclaimed Property Division has over $800 million just waiting to be claimed. Text Tony Katz to 46220 or visit indianaunclaimed.gov to claim yours today.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
See, Kev took control of the situation. Casey's like, I'd like some Rob Thomas. Kev's like, F you, woman. Here's some Cat Stevens.
What did you say? I don't have any of that.
Yeah, I mean,
I can get some.
I can get that next segment.
No,
but
you can't.
It was
No,
just
you're doing fine.
We were coming back to the segment.
Yeah, no, it's good. You didn't have enough time. There just wasn't enough time.
It's Kendall Casey Show. I'm Rob Casey's here. Let's talk about taxes that are going up, shall we, Case?
Specifically, wheel tax and excise tax.
So this is the what the General Assembly did. We talked about this earlier. What the General Assembly did this session is they essentially handed a crack addict a bunch of drugs and said, well, if you choose to take it, that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
Or handed someone who is suicidal a gun and said, or homicidal a gun and said, well, something bad happened, they pulled the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
They are giving these people, in these cases, it's the local government,
right,
every means necessary to be able to raise taxes. And then the legislature can stand back and go, they did that.
Yeah.
We didn't do that.
Right. They're just passing the buck, and then the local governments say, well, the state told us to do this.
One of the things they're doing is they're incentivizing tax increases by requiring local governments in order to get state money to raise taxes. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago, that when you have a 360-page bill, there's no way people understand that bill.
Well, especially when they don't read it.
Right. And as Carrie Hamilton, state rep, told us, she estimates maybe 10% of the entire General Assembly, that's 150 people, that's 15, read the thing, much less understood it.
Were they trying to get it through osmosis?
They're just doing what they're told.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality. The legislature is now, the Republican supermajorities are whatever Rod and Todd tell them to do. That's what they do. There is no debate. There is no discussion. There is no dissension. They do what they're told. And when you have a 360-plus page bill, which is what property taxes were, which, to put it in perspective, is 1.5 times the entire state budget.
Mm-hmm.
State budget is more than 1.5 times, because the state budget is 220 pages, I think. So you're looking at 140 pages more than the entire state budget. And there's all sorts of these little things that get tucked in, because we as the media, we can only focus on the big things, because you got to be a rocket scientist to understand the language anyway.
Okay.
And it's hard. It's right. It's hard enough, even if you know what you're looking at, to know. And then there's all these little things that don't come out until 6 months later, 3 months later, or whatever, when people finally start getting to digest it. Well, one of the things that they did is they apparently, now the bill is so complex and incapable of being understood that the municipalities across the state don't even agree on this. But some municipalities are interpreting that in order to get community crossing grants, which is money the state gives to municipalities to do local road repairs, that they now have to enact these local wheel taxes and excise taxes, which tie into the road funding bill, which we talked about a couple weeks ago or last week or whenever it was, where they're going to put all these toll roads over time to generate revenue, tax increases for these road projects, right? Because they totally botched the last road funding bill 8 years ago, which was the tax on gas. That didn't do anything, and we told them we weren't going to do anything. But we always let the same stupid people make the same stupid decisions. And in this road funding bill, coupled with language that was changed in Senate Bill 1, the property tax bill, communities now are interpreting, because right now the county enacts your wheel tax. If you look on your when you pay your license registration fee every year, there's a wheel tax, like a local wheel tax. You'll see it. It's labeled on it. It's your county wheel tax. And counties max this thing out, and it's another way that the state put the onus on the local governments to be the bad guys, and you pay for it every single year. Now there's an interpretation based on Senate Bill 1 language that was removed, that in order to get the community crossing grant money, that local governments on top of county governments have to enact a wheel tax. And don't take my word for it. The Daily Journal has a big article. You can go read it for yourself, where the other night Franklin, the city of Franklin, enacted a local wheel and excise tax in order to get the community crossing money.
Yeah, so this is going to be effective on January 1st of 26, and the Franklin wheel tax will be $40, and the excise tax will be $25.
Now, what's hilarious about this, now, shame on all these people in Franklin, because they voted on something without understanding it, because in the article, you can tell these people have no idea what the law actually says. The attorney and the mayor, and like there's no consensus about what the law actually says. So you should be appalled at yourself if you voted on something without understanding why you wouldn't table it or go back or whatever. And look, Franklin is another example of a city that is growing too fast and irresponsibly. It's my understanding they've had water and sewer increases that have gone. I mean, all of these things that cities that grow too fast and irresponsibly are doing. But what they're making cities and towns now, the legislature, what they're doing is they're essentially the addict, and they're making them harm themselves in order to get the fix from the state. You gotta tax raise the taxes on people locally too.
So here's the question: if Johnson County retains their wheel tax and their excise tax, won't Franklin residents be double taxed on the same thing?
Well, voila, Casey.
Oh,
now this is the argument.
Ding ding.
Because in this article, they're basically the city of Franklin legislators or counselors, or whatever you call them, are like, well, we're really hoping that if indeed we're misunderstanding the law, that the county will do the right thing and not do the wheel tax.
Please, pretty please.
Yeah, right. We'll file that amongst the tippy top of things that ain't going to happen.
With the cherry
The
on
county
top?
will just remove their revenue so you can have the money. Yeah, that's exactly it. No, they have created, Braun and the General Assembly have created a monster this session of new taxes, local taxes that are far going to eclipse anything they will ever dream of cutting in terms of state taxes. Not that they're doing that anyway, but they're passing the blame on to other people, and they're bribing them. They're holding them hostage in order to get this money to be able to do it.
I love this legal interpretation. So this coming from the city attorney, called the tax structure layered, similar to property taxes, and noted the state appears to support local tax stacking.
Here's the thing, and I've said this because I told you when I met with Braun that day right before he went out and announced the compromise.
And screwed you.
Well, screwed everybody. And by the way, Braun's getting everything he deserves. Do not let up on Braun. You cannot be mean enough to this guy over the next 3.5 years. He screwed you. He lied to you. Do not let up on this guy. You have to put him in a pile of misery that makes him so dissatisfied with this position that he doesn't run again. That should be our goal, since he knows people are hurting. He knows people are suffering. He knows he screwed up, and he won't do anything about it. We've given him every opportunity. That's the only recourse that we have now. But I describe it in and I've used this analogy before, but it's the best one I can think of. In the movie Halloween, Donald Pleasance plays the character Dr. Loomis, who is the psychiatrist who analyzes the young Michael Myers, right? And he describes something, he says something to the effect of, I tried to reach him, but there was nothing there. There was nothing but evil looking back at me. And that day I met with Braun when I was trying to walk through with him about the property tax bill and why it was going to be bad if he signs it and what was going to happen. It was like a man looking back at me who was void of any knowledge of what he was about to do, and was just, it was like, sign here, Grandpa. Do what little Junior, little Joshy and Jason and the rest of the Good Time Fun gang over at your office have told you to do. He had no concept of what he was doing, how it works, and it's happening. Everything we're telling you, and I saw so many people yesterday when this article in the Daily Journal came out, Rob was right. Yes, because unlike the governor or the lieutenant governor or most of the General Assembly,
you read through the thing.
I read stuff and I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So the point is, of all this, if you were to set Braun down right now and show him that article and ask him, can you clarify what those laws that you signed actually say? Because the easy answer would be from the attorney, let me call the governor's office and legislative services and get a clear answer before we vote on this. They want the money. Franklin did it not because they're concerned about this law. They want the money. They see it as an opportunity to double dip. That's why they're doing it, which is exactly what I told Braun was going to happen. They looked at me and they're like, well, you could go to the meetings and you could vote them out.
Right.
I said, all of these local governments are going to go as quick and as fast as they possibly can for every taxing opportunity that you gave them. And that is exactly what is happening.
And for all you know, the school could do a referendum.
Totally. And those are going to happen all over the place now. So if you sat Braun right now and asked him, hey, I can't call him that. Hey, buddy, can you explain to the city of Franklin?
Your answer would be, let's go to Wawa and get a milkshake.
All right. Hey, I went to the dentist yesterday and had a fun experience. Can we talk about it?
Yeah, I want to know what happened. It's Kendall Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, a trade deal with the UK. What are the details? After the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Hey, will you be filing for Social Security in the next 5 years? The amount of lifetime income you get from Social Security could vary by hundreds of thousands of dollars. And basically, it all boils down to not only your timing, but also coordinating taxes, spousal benefits, IRAs, 401k withdrawals, and much more. Hammer and Nigel here. You got to make sure you get every penny that's rightfully yours with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Demery.
We trust Bill Demery, and you can too. And if you've saved more than $200,000 and have not yet filed for Social Security, schedule that free analysis right now by calling Bill Demery, 317-648-5120. This analysis could help you get hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional lifetime income, and it's free. Schedule it right now, 317-648-5120. 317-648-5120. Bill Demery, your retirement guy.
Don Fisher here for QC Kinetics. I want to share with you the best thing I've done for my knee pain. I've been hearing commercials about the groundbreaking treatments that QC Kinetics offers for months. Meantime, my chronic knee pain had hit an all-time high threshold. I wanted to stay active and enjoy playing golf again without the pain. So I decided to call and book an appointment. And what I found out was that QC Kinetics is the non-surgical solution. I have no knee pain and feel like I did 10 years ago. And it's all because of the non-invasive therapy from QC Kinetics.
Discover the solution to joint pain with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. For a free consultation, call 463-282-6886.
I'm back to playing golf and enjoying life. Take it from me, this is the best call you can make to relieve your orthopedic pain.
For your free consultation, call QC Kinetics today. 463-282-6886. 463-282-6886.
Come on, Indy. Don't use the spring to paint your house year after year. Do what Deanna did. She called Rhino Shield.
I was noticing some cracks and the paint's faded. I was like, okay, I think I should get my house painted. So my neighbor had a Rhino Shield placard in the yard. And after they were finished, I was just, wow. With the warranty and everything, it just seemed silly not to go that route.
The ceramic coating of Rhino Shield is specifically formulated for our climate.
So the Rhino Shield crew came out. Nothing was damaged in the process. I was very happy. They just didn't leave a mess. You couldn't even tell they were there. And the house looked so different. It just looked like a new home.
Backed by a 25-year transferable warranty. And now get the protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
Rhino Shield, I think it increases the value and the curb appeal of your home. Definitely worth it.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
You can be a hero at the finish line when you say yes to organ donation. I'm Jake Query, sports talk show host and auto racing announcer, and I hear so many stories about how organ donation saves lives. Like the 5 lives saved by race car driver Brian Clausen, who was an organ donor after he tragically passed away in a racing accident in 2016. You can be a hero when you say yes to organ donation the next time you're at the BMV. Learn more at driven2savelives.org.
Mecum Auctions returns to the Indiana State Fairgrounds May 9th through 17th for Dana Mecum's 38th Original Spring Classic. Join us for the fun, fast-paced, high-energy Mecum experience. For avid collectors, first-time buyers, and enthusiasts of all ages, there's something for everyone. And with more than 3,000 vehicles up for auction, it's a chance to bring home your dream car. Register to bid and buy tickets now at Mecum.com. That's Mecum.com.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
News doesn't wait, and neither should you. Breaking news updates, local headlines, and statewide coverage are always available at WIBC.com. When the news moves fast, we will too. Stay in the know while you're on the go with WIBC.com.
And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when. But we'll
Went to the dentist yesterday.
How'd it go?
Well, I had an interesting conversation. So I had to find a new dentist. I hated this. I had the same dentist for like 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then in their infinite wisdom, our employer took my dental insurance, which was working fabulously for me,
Mm-hmm.
and then switched it.
Yeah.
And then it turned out my dentist I've had for all these years, they picked an insurance that they don't take.
Oh, so you had to go someone new.
Yes. And so I
Mhm.
found a new dentist, which I hated, but you got to do what you got to do.
Mhm.
And getting to know these people. And I had a little, I've never had a cavity. That's my claim to fame.
Ever?
Never had
Good
a
for you.
cavity. But I had a little chip on my front tooth
Mhm.
that had to be bonded. That's what they call it, right?
Mhm.
And went and saw this dentist a few weeks ago. They took a letter. They were super nice. Said, yeah, we can do it. No problem. So scheduled. I'd actually scheduled for the 29th. That was when Ernest T. Bass went to prison or got his prison sentencing.
Mhm.
So I wasn't going to miss that.
So you had to reschedule.
Yeah, Gabe Whitley. So I had to reschedule. So went yesterday. And, they call you back thinking, all right.
They
just
do
get in-
x-rays?
No, they already done all that. So they knew
Okay.
what they were doing. It was a pretty simple procedure. It was a very minor chip. And the lady, Beth was her name. She was super nice. She's, you get in the chair, you're going, you're talking. She was amazed at my my blood pressure is, everybody's always amazed at how perfect my blood pressure is. And
They took your blood pressure at the dentist?
well, because they thought they might have to numb the
okay.
area, I think. And I think they didn't end up having to.
Precaution.
And people are always amazed at my perfect blood pressure. And she's like, most people, when they come in the dentist, their blood pressure skyrockets.
Right.
And are you staying so calm? And I said, well, I get all of my nervous energy out at work. And she looks at me and she goes, are you on the radio?
Oh, no.
This lady has a drill in her hand, right? And I said, perhaps.
Which way do you vote?
She said, are you on the radio? I said, you have the drill. You talk first. She goes, what show are you on? I told her, she goes, oh, I listen to you guys all the time. She's like, I'm your biggest fan. I said, oh, that boy, thank God you're not a Kamala voter.
Yeah.
And she goes, I'm going to do an extra good job on your tooth. And I said, well, you would have done a half-assed job if I hadn't been.
Right.
She did a great job. Beth was top-notch. It looks great. Thus far, no ramifications from the tooth being bonded. And it was amazing. It was like 10 minutes in and out. They did a great job.
That's good. So whenever I go to the dentist, I always sing that song, I can't feel my face when I'm with you.
I'm sure they loved that.
So you weren't numb when you left?
No, they didn't have to numb it or anything.
That's good.
There were drills and everything, and I was like, how is this not hurting? And Beth and the dentist were wonderful, and it was like a 10-minute procedure.
So I was at the doctor yesterday getting my shoulder checked out because they think I might have a rotator cuff tear or
Carrying
something.
the show around?
Yeah. And the guy says, you're not lifting heavy boxes over your head, are you, during the day at work? And I said, no. And he goes, well, what do you do? And I said, I co-host a political talk show. And he's, well, that's not stressful at all. But no, not at all.
Tell him I work with a completely
wait till
neurotic
you know who
maniac.
my co-host is.
Yeah. Hey, I've got an update from someone in law enforcement. 2 updates, in fact, from people in law enforcement about these speed cameras, these speed traps.
Right.
They're not happy. The law enforcement people are not happy.
Yeah, we'll talk about that coming up. It's 93 WIBC.
Last-minute Mother's Day shoppers, all 4 Cynthia's Hallmark locations have plenty of budget-friendly ideas that make it easy. Graduation gifts, too. Ronaldo Jewelry in Greenfield is the perfect gift for either celebration. Every piece of Ronaldo jewelry is thoughtfully designed to tell a story, a beautiful personal gift. Cynthia's has a huge selection of Yeti products, and Mom will love the new ultramarine violet color. Be sure to take advantage of Cynthia's tote sale featuring huge 17 by 16 quilted totes in beautiful spring colors, just $9.98, and 20% off everything you can fit inside. Some exclusions apply. Lemon Lavender is one of Cynthia's best-selling product lines, full of the perfect spa day products to pamper Mom. And while you're there, pick up your Ornament Dream Book and get details of the special pre-order promotion starting May 12th. Happy Mother's Day from locally owned Cynthia's Hallmark, 116th and Allisonville Road, 116th and Brook School Road, 96th and Lantern Road, and in Greenfield.
You know exactly why you need to remodel that kitchen of yours. The space, it's outdated. You can't move around like you used to. It doesn't work like it needs to. You want to entertain and you want to improve your quality of life. This can happen, just not with the kitchen you have. You need to call Booher Remodeling, B-O-O-H-E-R, BooherRemodeling.com. They can take that old kitchen that's deteriorating and broken down and turn it into something that works for you and your family. Their 5-step design process from start to finish, the consultation, the preliminary design, the design development, getting all the documents together, and then getting it done. The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. Booher Remodeling will guide you through the entire process, starting with the free initial consultation, and they stand behind their work with a 2-year workmanship guarantee. Create that new kitchen. Design experts can use an existing layout or begin completely from scratch. Talk to Booher Remodeling today. B-O-O-H-E-R. BooherRemodeling.com. That's BooherRemodeling.com.
I'm sure everyone says this, but my mom really deserves the world. This year, I finally found a Mother's Day gift that comes close. She loves Hellsberg, so I'm getting her these timeless gold earrings she can enjoy for years to come. They feel special enough to show how much I truly appreciate everything she does for me. And I mean everything. I even sent my dad a link to the Diamond Eternity band he'll be getting her, too.
Save up to 50% on Mother's Day gifts Mom will cherish forever. Visit Hellsberg.com or a store near you.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Spring is here, and Dammons is full speed ahead with endless plant production of perennials, annuals, hanging baskets, roses, and planters. Trucks are arriving with fresh trees and shrubs. Dammons' friendly staff is ready to assist you and get you the help you need. So for any of your gardening needs, experience Dammons South on Emerson Avenue and Dammons West on Rockville Road.
Dammons Lawn and Garden, Indiana's most complete garden center.
Join our B&W Premier Club for additional benefits and exclusive discounts.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, 317-214-0108, your American Standard air dealer. This May, be a hero at the finish line. Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives reminds you to say yes to organ donation the next time you're at the BMV.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, a child is dead, a suspect at large following a hit and run. Mourning the loss of a runner who collapsed after completing the Mini. A terrible case of child sex abuse at a Brownsburg daycare. And a busy weekend ahead in Indy for the Pacers and at IMS. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
The U.S. and the U.K. have struck a deal. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
So good for both countries.
President Trump announcing just a few minutes ago at the White House a trade agreement with Britain that he says is still being ironed out, but he knows
the U.K. will reduce or eliminate numerous non-tariff barriers that unfairly discriminated against American products.
And the president says this is the first of many trade deals to come, saying there are
meetings planned today and tomorrow, and every country wants to be making deals.
There'll be trade talks over the weekend between the U.S. and China as well. The day after another pro-Palestinian protest at Columbia University, where more than 80 students were arrested at the New York City campus. A Homeland Security statement says any protester in the U.S. with a green card or a visa who pushes Hamas propaganda, glorifies terrorists, harasses Jews, and takes over buildings can book a ticket home. Expect your visa to be revoked. Columbia's acting president, Claire Shipman, says
there's a line between legitimate protest and actions that endanger others and disrupt the fundamental work of the university. Today, that line was crossed.
A new conflict between nuclear-armed rivals India and Pakistan escalated again today. The day after Indian missile strikes killed 31 people in a region of Kashmir Pakistan controls. Pakistan claims to have killed 40 to 50 Indian soldiers and shot down fighter jets and drones, while Indian attacks today wounded 4 Pakistani soldiers. Now to the Vatican, where cardinals remain locked up secretly choosing the next pope.
Lots of people camped out waiting for it to see the white smoke.
There's just that feeling of, oh wow, what's going to happen?
They're among the thousands gathered on day 2 of the conclave. So far, only black smoke's been seen, meaning cardinals have not reached 2/3 consensus on the new pope.
The cardinals will vote 2 more times this afternoon, and the last 2 popes were elected on the second day of their conclaves, so there is a lot of hope.
Fox's Alex Hogan. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A fatal hit and run involving a child. It's cloudy, 66 degrees in downtown Indy. Rain possible this afternoon, maybe some thunderstorms too in some spots. 72 is the high today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Indianapolis police are searching for a driver involved in a hit and run that killed a 4-year-old child and seriously injured 2 adults. The collision happened Wednesday night near South State Avenue and East Raymond Street. Police say a driver in a white Dodge Charger ran a red light, crashed into another car with a woman inside, and then a bicycle. A man was riding that bike and pulling a small trailer with that child inside, who was later pronounced dead at a hospital. The driver took off after the crash and is now being looked for. Police in Brownsburg are conducting a large investigation involving a former daycare employee at Main Street University for Kids. Multiple agencies are involved in investigating, such as the prosecutor's office, the Indiana Department of Child Services, and Susie's Place Child Advocacy Center. A male suspect is being held without bond on charges of child molesting and child exploitation in connection to the investigation. We'll have more on a story posted to WIBC.com. Indy's mini marathon starting off as a celebration but ending in tragedy when a runner collapsed and later died. Ryan Hedrick reports.
Patrick Colvin was just 29 years old. The Marion County coroner is still determining his cause, but his family shared in an obituary that he died from sudden cardiac arrest. Holden grew up in Brownsburg, graduated, and earned a doctorate in pharmacy and an MBA at Butler University. He is survived by his wife, parents, 3 siblings, a grandmother, and 2 nephews. A memorial visitation will be held Friday at Connection Point Church in Brownsburg. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC, Mobile News.
Racing is back at IMS this week. The Sancio Grand Prix is set for Saturday at 4:30. Before that, we'll get practice and qualifying from the world's greatest race course tomorrow. Also on Friday, the Indiana Pacers are back in action with a 2-0 series lead on the Cavs. Indiana Pacers forward Miles Turner says he's been good with the team having to rise to the occasion in late-game situations.
I don't want to have to depend on it, but it's something that's been very fun, man. I think that we've seen a lot, these last 3-4 weeks of the season and whatnot, and it prepared us for moments like such. And, it's just a thing of beauty right now. It's playing some great basketball.
Game 3 in Indianapolis tips off at 7:30 inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
There sure are a lot of memories in that house. It's where you celebrated years of anniversaries and birthdays, where you watched the kids grow, where you relaxed in your retirement. You love it right down to the scuff on the dining room floor and that sticky window in the bedroom. But now the stairs are getting harder, the lawn, the cleaning, the repairs, it's just too much to keep up. And it's probably time to downsize. But the thought of getting the house ready to sell is overwhelming. It's time to learn about Simple Quarters. They'll buy your house as is. No repairs, no worries. They handle everything. You take what you want and you leave the rest. They're a Christian company, so they understand the emotional ties, and they'll be respectful of your memories and feelings as they help you simplify your life. If you're considering downsizing and want a hassle-free way to sell your home, call Simple Quarters at 317-900-HOME. That's 317-900-HOME, or go to simplequarters.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by B&W HVAC, Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
I knew I was onto something.
Yeah, it's true.
I knew it. You and I have been through this, and you didn't believe me in the beginning. But I have like a sixth sense of being able to smell out government bullcrap. Like that's my...
It's your talent, your little intuition.
This is the thing I'm good at. I was born to do 2 things. Be good on the radio and destroy government bullcrap. And I just had a feeling from the moment these speed camera things were announced that I said I see all of these issues with these things, and I can't believe nobody else is speaking out about them. And so the other day we started talking about it. So what we're talking about, I think the only one here in central Indiana, they are now have these in construction zones, they have these speed cameras where there's a sign and it says you're on camera, and if you go 10 miles an hour over the posted speed limit,
you're going to get a warning, right?
Warning, and then a $75 ticket, and then a $150 ticket. And I drove by the one as if I needed another reason not to go to the north side. There's one up near Carmel on 465. And I drove through this a month or 2 ago, whatever it was. And I said, you're actually creating more of a danger, because I was trying to go in or around the speed limit, which they've got set at 45, which is too low. And I felt myself at danger based on there's a limited area for the cars to maneuver, and they're all trying to maneuver around you, because I ain't getting anywhere close to that 10 number, because 2 either way, if your odometer's off, and they could hit you. And I said, I'm not doing it. I'm a notorious rule follower. And then you got the OCD and the neurotic behavior and all of this, right? Like, it's horrible for me to be in that position. Like, it's just a horrible, horrible, horrible thing.
Yeah.
The OCD, super overdrive. And I said, they're actually creating, I think, danger potentially for people.
Yeah, so this is part where 465 and 69, they're being reconfigured.
Right. And so then I started thinking to myself, I said, wait a second. The law says that it is only applicable when construction workers are present.
Right.
So if you theoretically got a ticket, wouldn't the state or whoever have to prove
the construction was happening?
Right. And then it spawned off into other things that we were talking about, issues with this bill.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, hey, if you're in law enforcement and you are seeing this the way I'm seeing this, because maybe I'm just totally missing it, could you reach out? And multiple people in law enforcement now
have reached out.
Both former and current have reached out and said, no, you're on about this. You're not off about the issues you have. So I'm going to read the correspondence that I got.
Yeah.
And then you can read the correspondence that you got.
Okay.
So this one that I got is from a former law enforcement officer, very respected. He also was a well-known figure in the State House. I'm not going to name his name, but he was very respected in the State House, very respected as a former law enforcement officer. He called me and said, hey, I need to talk to you about this issue because I heard you guys talking about it. You are on, but I got to clarify some things about what I think the public needs to know and questions I have or issues I have with it as a former law enforcement. And when we're talking through this, like some of these things I can't believe I didn't even think of. So I'm going to read some of these off. All right. Are we ready?
Yeah.
All right. He said, speeding infractions must be witnessed by a law enforcement officer.
So it's got to be a real person.
Right. We were right. You can't just a camera because the camera could be wrong. You got to have somebody saying, I was operating the thing and it was operating effectively. And when you go to court, if you challenge a speeding ticket, you got to have that. So he said, you're right.
Somebody was trying to argue that the camera is in lieu of an actual person because it's regulated by.
Yeah, but he's saying, as a former law enforcement guy, he's saying that they don't think that'll hold up if you challenge that.
Okay.
All right. 2.
We're right because the camera can't go and testify in court.
That's right. This is my point.
Yeah.
See this brain?
Yeah.
How do I not have a statue erected to me somewhere? Look, I'm now driving the speed camera conversation, and I thought of this of my own volition.
Okay.
All right. 2.
Yeah.
And I cannot think of that I didn't think of this. And this, he told me this.
You just say how wonderful your brain is. Now
I thought of the thing that there were issues.
Think of this?
Then he started laying out the other issues.
Okay.
All right. INDOT is not a law enforcement agency and has no law enforcement authority.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, when you get pulled over, it's a state trooper or it's a county sheriff.
Correct.
Or it's a city cop, right?
Right.
Those people have the ability to, hey, you're speeding, click, there you go. I can give you a ticket, right?
Right.
INDOT is not that.
Right. So INDOT can't enforce it.
3, INDOT is sending out fine letters and not actually citations.
This is true. They have sent over 90,000 notices so far since January.
4, see, this guy was really in the weeds on this, and it's really good stuff, right? INDOT can't report speeding citations to the BMV, which means no points on your license, and your driver's license can't be suspended for non-payment because INDOT is not a law enforcement agency.
Boom!
Right? I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. Now, look, if you're in INDOT, who do we know? Do we know anybody in INDOT? Oh, they're not happy with me. They don't like me. I called them the mob one time.
Well, the only one I know at INDOT is in public relations. So.
Well, that'd be the perfect person. We need somebody from INDOT. If we're missing something, if this guy's wrong, to come in and say, no, here's why we can do all of this, right? Okay, 5.
Yeah.
This is another great point. We talked about this for quite a while. What court are the drivers summoned to attend to contest the speeding allegations?
Right.
So if you're speeding through Carmel and you get a ticket by a Carmel cop, there's probably some Carmel city court.
Right.
And then the cop's got to show up and blah, blah, blah.
If you want to fight it.
County sheriff, county government center, whatever. Where do you go? INDOT doesn't have a court. INDOT's issuing the ticket.
I'm sure it says it on the citation.
Do I go to 465, is that technically Marion County? But who would, and this spawned the conversation of, like I said, who would you contest against? Like when you contest a speeding ticket and the officer doesn't show up and there's no preponderance of the evidence, you can win that fight.
Right.
Right? There's no one to bear witness against you.
Right.
And that's what this guy's saying. And number 6, and this is a great question. Where does the money go from the speeding letters?
Where does the money go?
Yeah, where is this money going? I don't know. Maybe that's already been answered and we just missed it. Does it go to the general fund? Does it go to some Construction worker
community
lifestyle
crossings.
enhancement fund. Where does the money go? I think all those 6 questions are very valid, and I'd love for somebody from the government. You should reach out to NDOT. They don't like me. I called them the mob.
I'm trying to see if I can find the answer of where the money goes.
Are you Googling it?
Yeah.
See, you shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't know.
It's pulling up something.
Maybe it's like all the rest of the laws.
Iowa,
They didn't think it through. Maybe it's going to the. No, never mind. Anyway, you got a letter as well, so it's not just me.
Okay, yeah. So I got a note, and it says Rob was discussing the work zone cameras today and expressed some frustration with them, and wanted to know how to fight tickets from them. I'm a police officer, also frustrated with them.
Oh.
I also teach traffic enforcement and the NHTSA qualified radar operator course for police officers.
Oh, so he knows what he's doing.
He's happy to discuss this with you and explain why the work zone radar is a scam.
Wait, say that again, Alan. You kind of buried that. You trailed off. Say that last part.
He's happy to discuss this and explain why the work zone radar is a scam.
Okay, so we got a current law enforcement officer who we know who this guy is. We're not going to say his name because he don't want to get caught up in this. He was trying to do community service.
He's got some experience.
Yeah, we verified who he is. He's saying it's a scam. The other guy, who's a former law enforcement officer who also spent quite a bit of time in the State House, is saying it's an issue. Has anybody else vetted these questions? Is it usual? Do we have to do all the work? Is it like every other bill the General Assembly passes? Oh, we didn't think about that.
I'm wondering if the money goes to these safe zone programs. The Clear Path construction zones. It's a part of this automated speed enforcement.
That's actually the last thing I care about because I don't think they're legal. I think the questions that our boy asked and then coupled with that guy who actually does it for a living, I think if somebody challenges it, see, they haven't sent the fines out yet.
You know what you should do? You should get in your little vehicle and get on 465.
Yeah.
And maybe go 12 over.
I got a better idea. You ready for this?
And see what happens when you get the ticket or the citation and then challenge it.
I got a better idea.
What's
you
that?
ready for this?
What?
You know, Beckwith's got that $87,000 car funded by the taxpayers. Why don't we have him do it? And that way, then we can put that vehicle to actually some use other than to benefit Beckwith and his fat friends. How about that?
Which car do you think would go faster, Beckwith's car or Diego's car? Technically, Diego's was a little bit more expensive. Does that mean it has a bigger engine?
This would actually be a good community service, though, by Micah, right? Like, Micah could get back in the good graces, use the car to challenge, because you got to get two. You got to get two, right?
He's got to go fast twice.
You got to get a warning, and then you got to get. Now, I guess the other question though is since that's a state
do you
car.
Think he would, well, yeah, it's a camera. He can't even roll down the window and pull the. Do you know who I am?
Right, because there's nobody.
Right.
But my question is, if he got a ticket, okay. Another great question. What if Beckwith and his fat friends get a ticket, or Diego gets a ticket, or Braun, or any of these? Do they get an actual? Does the state fine the state?
Oh. And then does the state pay for the violation?
That's my question.
Yeah.
See, another thing I bet they didn't vet out is there diplomatic immunity for the for the
well, it's
office
taking
holders?
a picture of your license plate, right?
Right. Are they gonna throw that in the trash? Is it just one hand sending money to the other?
Interesting.
Because it's a state car, he ain't paying it.
Right.
But I think it'd be a great opportunity for Micah to challenge this for us, and it could put that car to some good use for once. What do you think?
I like it.
Hey, Diego's back in the news, and
He
it ain't
is.
good.
Well, that's why I brought up his car.
That's right.
He's
Some people are there is a breaking news story from the Indy Star involving Diego, and I think we should discuss this when we come back.
We will. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Life moves fast.
Another new directive from Donald Trump.
President Trump will not be deterred to make our federal government more efficient.
So does the news.
We expect those meetings to take place very soon.
Decisions made today.
I'm not a big fan of the Atlantic.
No threats to national security.
Could impact you tomorrow.
Accountability and transparency.
What's next?
You never know what's going to happen.
Need to know what happened.
We're already tracking it. Stay in the know while you're on the go on 93 WIBC.
Mark Dietel, the only real estate expert I trust, the only expert you should trust with the sale of your home. Andrew in downtown Noblesville recently retired, and the goal is to sell their home of 30 years, buy an RV, and spend summers traveling to Montana and winters in Arizona. I love it. Mark Dietel's team made it happen fast, went under contract in 3 days, over asking price, no contingencies.
Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. That's right, he will buy it. You pick the move date, no long-term contracts. You can cancel at any time. The Mark Dietel guarantee is what separates him from everybody else. And you deserve that because you deserve to make the most money. 317-755-4232. Call Mark Dietel today, 755-4232, or markdietel.com. Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietel.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/today. Ethos.com/today.
Pat Sullivan here with exciting news from my friends at Hope Plumbing, now known as Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Hope now offers plumbing, heating, and air conditioning services, bringing total comfort to your home. No more dealing with multiple home service memberships. For only $8 a month, Hope is now your one-stop for safety and maintenance inspections and so much more. Make sure you're prepared for those Indiana summer heat waves with an AC tune-up by calling Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling today at 641-HOPE.
Create a glowing backyard retreat with Indy Decorative Concrete. Get a free outdoor lighting package with the purchase of our best stamped concrete patio. Hurry, offer ends June 30th. Go to indydecorativeconcrete.com.
This May, you can be a hero at the finish line. Say yes to organ donation and talk to your family about your decision. A message from Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-791-1313. That's 800-791-1313. Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Well, they blew up the chicken man in Philly last night. Now they blew up his house too.
Diego Morales is back in the news.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, he is just a complete skis bucket, isn't he?
He likes to talk a big game about election integrity, but then maybe crosses the line himself.
He weirdly seems to know nothing about the thing he's in charge of. I mean, he somehow, years ago, when he ran for Congress, 2018, voted in a county different from where he took his homestead credit. We've never got an answer to that.
Right.
And now, IndyStar has a big expose that, what is she? Is she the clerk of elections in Marion County? Is that what?
Marion County clerk, yeah.
Yes. Is saying that he is violating election law because in this video that he, Kate Sweeney Bell is her name, is saying that he violated election law. And it appears, like reading this article, she's got a pretty strong case that he puts this video out announcing his reelection. And a bunch of this footage is from a restricted area.
Yeah, in Marion County's Election Service Center.
Yeah, like he's doing official business, or he's there as the official government person, and they filmed all of this stuff of him in this restricted area, and there's all these employees and stuff that are around him, and they're saying, wait a second, we're just here trying to do our jobs. This goof shows up. We're getting filmed and in and up in an ad. We don't support or condone him. And it's a restricted area.
Yeah, so he filmed the video, and he put this out on May 1st on his campaign sites. I believe it's on his Facebook and also his Twitter account. And there's no what do you call it at the end? No
disclaimer.
There's no disclaimer saying who paid for it, because
just like his trip to India.
Well,
there's no disclaimer who paid for it,
because it's anybody can. It's free to access Facebook or X. He doesn't have to put that disclaimer. Clearly, somebody did the work to edit this video, but we don't know who, because he didn't put that disclaimer on there. He doesn't technically have to.
Well, why would you want to go be at all transparent? I mean, Diego, that is one thing you count on Diego is a total commitment to lack of transparency.
But let's just review the video. Here's the end of it.
Diego Morales is fighting for secure elections, a thriving economy, and a state that puts Hoosiers first. He's protecting your rights, your investments, and your future.
There is still work to do, but together we will continue to build an Indiana where everyone can succeed, where our elections are secure, and where Hoosiers come first. I humbly ask for your support. I'm Diego Morales, and I approve this message.
Paid for by we don't know.
Yeah, just like my trip to India. Okay, so I'm going to read this quote from Kate Sweeney Bell, and I mean, she's like spot on with this. Okay. Quote, at no time, however, were the volunteers and staff captured in the footage told they might be featured in a campaign ad, nor did they consent to it. According to Sweeney Bell's letter sent by Sweeney Bell to Morales on May the 7th. So that was yesterday. That was yesterday, right? Day the 8th? May the 8th? Is that correct? All right.
Victory Day.
Nor would there have been any basis for them to expect that outcome, given they were working in areas accessible only to credentialed individuals. You were visiting in your official capacity, accompanied by other state employees, and Indiana law prohibits government employees using government property to carry out campaign-related activities.
Yes, it's true. He did it on state time while he was visiting as the Secretary of State, and then used that footage in a campaign video.
Now, this is where it comes back to the problem of our old pal Rokita endorsing. This is Rokita's guy now. Rokita loves Diego. He's all on board with Rokita's with Diego's reelection. Rokita don't care about the suspicious trip to India. He don't care about the brother-in-law, the six-figure salary or the bonus. He don't care about the spot bonuses. He don't care about the no-bid contracts. He don't care about those companies giving big money back to Diego's campaign. He don't care about what Diego did for a job. None of it. He don't care about any of it.
Rokita said since taking office, Diego has been working tirelessly for the people of Indiana. I see this firsthand as we're working together in the fight to keep non-citizens out of Indiana elections. I'm proud to endorse Diego Morales in his re-election for Indiana Secretary of State.
This poor woman. No, she's not poor. How much did Lindsay Eaton make? Did we determine what that was? Did you look that up?
Lindsay Eaton is the
communications lady for Diego.
For Diego Morales, it was $119,000.
Yeah, so I was going to say poor woman, but I don't think she's actually poor. She has to. What is it?
It was either 112, 119.
She's six figures, right?
It's
okay.
So she's a little over 100,000.
She's not going to be in the soup line anytime soon.
No.
Okay. She said. I love how they Star Words this. Boy, welcome to the party, pal. Morales' office sent a short response to several questions sent on Wednesday by IndyStar about how the campaign got access to the footage. Boy, doesn't that make short response? Quote, our office does not provide materials outside of official use, according to spokeswoman Lindsay Eaton. She did not respond to a question about whether it would be removed from the video. So this is another example.
So whoever edited that video is going to have to go back and work some more.
No, I bet he won't do anything with it because this is how this guy operates. He operates with the level of arrogance and conceit that this guy has is off the charts. The entitlement that this guy has and no obligation whatsoever to be transparent, to follow the rules, the regulations, none of it. He doesn't feel any obligation for any of it. He went to India for 10 days, Casey, did who knows what, and won't tell anybody who paid for it.
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of, do you remember when Braun was running and there was that edited picture?
That's right.
McCormick had a real big problem with, and then they had to go back and change it.
In hindsight, that should have been the red flag where we figured out just how stupid and entitled Braun actually was, and a mixture of that should have told me. And you know, it's part of the three-step process. I'm owning my that I got hoodwinked.
The red flags were there. We chose to ignore them.
Yeah, I should have been when he was that stupid and he kept trying to correct it or didn't correct it properly. Or, I mean, these people they're just laughing at you at this point. Diego, Braun, Rokita, they're just laughing at you nonstop, and they think you're too stupid or apathetic or whatever to do anything about it.
Here's the question, though. How can we trust him to be the state's top election cop, so to speak, when he himself is doing questionable ethical stuff?
Right, it's just common sense, Casey. I mean, I always do the average person test when it comes to ethical things. Like if you were to stop an average person on the street and say, okay, any person in politics knows the separation of politics and official business, right? They go through it. It's ethics training, all of this stuff, right? So any person that enters that state house, it is made abundantly clear to them, you cannot do politics on state government time or with state government resources. Well, you have to have an IQ of 7. Anyone with an IQ of 7 or above would recognize if I'm doing something in an official government capacity, using official government resources with other government employees and government entities, that's government related, and I shouldn't be using it for my campaign propaganda.
Right.
But our chief elections official, who also apparently didn't know you can't vote in a county, or you're not supposed to vote in a county other where you take your homestead credit, apparently he didn't know that.
By the way, IN.gov still has Diego Morales' campaign social media accounts up on the state's website.
And nobody will do anything. Isn't it amazing? Nobody in the state house will do anything about this guy. The governor, Rokita, Dan Elliott, Lisa Nishala, Micah, they won't speak out. The people in the state legislature who had the ability to get all the answers.
Now I'm starting to wonder with the whole medicine foundry in Lebanon with the LEAP project and the HB5 visas, the Indy reporter was saying, all of these openings that are going to be happening at that medicine foundry. And Diego is on this economic development trip. Is this...
Who knows?
All part of the soup?
It is wild that the governor allowed this little twerp to totally emasculate him and show him up and doesn't do a thing about it. Isn't that a giant red flag? I mean, you are the governor, and everybody hates this guy, and you know what a little you-know-what head he is, and they just let him waltz around there like he owns the joint. It blows my mind. All right, commercial break. Then what?
It's Kendall Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A graphic case of child sex abuse. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:30. A former Brownsburg teacher is facing serious charges after a daycare investigation. State leaders shut down Main Street University for Kids after 22-year-old Gabriel Garner was arrested for child molesting and exploitation. A daycare teacher contacted police after Garner asked an inappropriate question about her 3-year-old daughter. Investigators say Garner had over 100 images of children, some showing abuse. Indy police are searching for a suspect involved in a hit and run that left a 4-year-old child dead. 2 other adults were injured in the collision that happened in southeast Indianapolis Wednesday night. Officers believe someone in a white Dodge Charger ran a red light and collided with a man and his child on a bicycle and a woman in her car. And Indiana Governor Mike Braun is signing a sweeping ban on marijuana advertisement. House Bill 1390 targets ads from neighboring state where recreational marijuana is legal. I'm Jarrett Lewis, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
Hey folks, Scott Wilson here from Wilson Farm Market.
Even in winter, we're bringing you the best in farm fresh flavors. Stop in for our fresh salad bar, hot and crispy wing bar, and a cheese selection that is second to none. Got a sweet tooth? Our homemade pies, creamy fudge, and old-fashioned candy will hit the spot. Come see us on US 31 just north of Carmel. We're open every day 9 to 6. At Wilson Farm Market, we're all about fresh, local, and delicious. See you soon.
This is the Indy 500, a race so thrilling and wondrous that it brings together more people than any other sporting event on Earth. They call the Indianapolis Motor Speedway the Cathedral of Speed. This is the Brickyard, where they've been racing since before any of us were born.
Spectators get a great view of these fast cars.
This is Speed City, and everyone's invited. Welcome to May.
J&V here from Ms. M's Home and Garden. The annual 20% off hanging basket sale is this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Ms. M's Home and Garden. While there, check out the nursery full of high-quality trees and shrubs and the greenhouse overflowing with annuals, perennials, and more. The garden shop also has all the seasonal decor you need. Don't forget the hanging basket sale, Friday through Sunday only. 20% off all hanging baskets. Ms. M's is located on State Road 135, south of Whiteland Road in Bargersville.
As our loved ones age, ensuring their safety at home becomes a top priority. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. I'll be right back with some practical things you can do to reduce the possibility of a fall or injury.
Cardon and Associates offers the finest senior living options tailored to your loved one's needs. Reservations are now being accepted for new apartments at Copper Trace in Westfield. Visit cardon.com.
Removing tripping hazards such as rugs and floor clutter is one way to prevent or minimize falls around the home. Another is to position grab bars in the restroom and other common areas where your loved one may need some extra support. Contact your local area agency on aging to inquire about low-cost or free installation services. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Hey guys, Life Church would love the opportunity to meet and welcome you and your mother this Mother's Day, which is Sunday. And while we honor moms every day, join Life Church this Mother's Day. There'll be special events at each Life Church location to make sure your mom or mother figure feels celebrated and special. Whatever you do, if you have your mom with you, be sure to give her a hug, a call, or a simple thank you. Let her know she's cherished, and come to Life Church. 4 campuses across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. Great online services. Learn more about it all, lifechurchin.com.
Join our B&W Premier Club for additional benefits and exclusive discounts.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, B+W.com, your American Standard Air dealer.
Thinning hair? This year, grow your hair back like I did. Call 317-522-2995 or visit WeGrowHairIndy.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Well, look who it is. Hammer's in the studio from the #1 rated Hammer and Nigel show.
Not today, Satan.
Uh-oh.
Today's one of those days where everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. But you know what? I'm not going to let it ruin my day because the sun is shining.
Mm-hmm.
We got some booze in the back. We got an awesome show lined up today. Our pal Brett Michaels is calling back in to talk Carb Day.
Yeah.
Rob's going to flip out and go off the rails.
Yep.
Not today, Satan. Got a flat tire early in the morning.
Did you hit a pothole?
Well, it's Indianapolis. Of course I did.
Did you get a cone buried in a pothole?
A pothole within a pothole. Yep, just a tire crippler, and was able to get the little dummy tire on, got home. But then there's this really cool program that's a spin-off product of AAA. Full disclosure, I am an endorser of AAA, but I love the product. I use AAA all the time. There's this thing called My Pit Crew, where if you don't have time to go to a tire store, or maybe you don't trust your little dummy buddy tire to get you to where you need to be, you use My Pit Crew Indy, and they come to your house with an all-new tire. They put it on for you. You just stay there, have a beer, and act like a goon.
Nice.
And it's Nigel's birthday, by the way. We should mention that.
Can't believe he's at work. He's out pretty much all of next week, by the way, but he's here today.
He always tells us that with a straight face, like, I'm going to so-and-so. I'll be gone next week. Again?
Yeah.
You're gone all the time, bro.
It's fine. Yeah, he's got the same amount of vacation time that I do. I backload mine. He front loads his.
But we did want to tell him happy birthday, and I just hope you just shower him with all the love and affection he deserves on his birthday on your program.
He's 49, but he looks every bit of 54, right? You look at that guy. He's got the liver of a 60-year-old man, at least, maybe older. And the gray is catching up to Big Nige.
Can I just say, though, that when you posted those prom photos of everyone who went to their prom on the air staff, the Nigel photo stole the show.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think it was more of the creeper van that stole the show.
And the suit's like too big. Looks like a turtle funeral home director guy. He's in the woods.
That guy came to pick up my daughter. I'd be like, nope.
We asked Guy Relford that on Monday Gun Day, and he said, I'd have every weapon out on the porch.
I bet.
I mean, it checks all the boxes. Creeper, turtle-looking guy in a too big a suit with a bad van near the woods. I mean, he just checked all of the boxes.
He did. But 49, I believe, today for Big
Happy birthday,
Nige.
Nigel. Happy birthday, Nigel.
Happy birthday, Velvet.
Yeah, we wanted to give you a chance to come on and promote your show. All
Glad
right.
you made it in.
Thank you. Not today, Satan, baby. My pit crew, Indy, AAA, you guys rock.
All right, it's the month of May. That's the Indy 500, but it's also an important month for your health. And so we're going to have a couple special guests to talk about that when we come back.
It's Kendall Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show. Rocker Brett Michaels calls in. Senator Jim Banks. Rob Kendall off the rails. Lots of prizes and giveaways. Let's go. 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Greetings from our agency, your Indiana Health Insurance Pros, and a sincere thank you to our loyal customers for making us national sales leaders once again for 2024. Crazy sign-up periods are at last over. If you were told the ACA and you know it's still Obamacare was your only option, that's just not true. If you were told since you've signed up already, you must keep your ACA program for a year, that's not true either. If you do not have serious health problems, and God forbid make a living wage, the ACA is your worst option, and it can be canceled at any time. We feature coverages guaranteed age 65, low out-of-pocket expenses, the largest networks in the country, and you can sign up anytime. Self-employed, early retiree, or ACA victim, call us at 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. That's 317-563-0868 or rragency.org. As always, God bless America. Peace through strength and common sense government.
Watching your parents get older is something you never get used to. You know it's going to happen, but it still doesn't seem right, especially when the time comes to consider moving a parent into a nursing home. It's a hard decision for you and them, and when that's the right choice, there's the added stress of what to do with the house. Simple Quarters understands and can help relieve some of that stress. They're a Christian company who is compassionate about what you and your parent are going through. They can help with the logistics of selling the home. They'll buy it as is, no need for repairs, cleaning, staging, or showings. No catch. It's one less thing for you to worry about. Simple Quarters, a Christian company dedicated to helping families through life's transitions. If you're facing the challenge of selling a home due to a loved one moving into an assisted living or nursing home, call Simple Quarters at 317-900-HOME. That's 317-900-HOME, or go to simplequarters.com.
You can be a hero at the finish line when you say yes to organ donation. I'm Jake Query, sports radio talk show host and racing announcer. And race fans regularly share their stories with me about how organ donation saves lives. Like the life of Danny, a race fan, husband, father, and grandfather who received a kidney transplant that saved his life in 2024. Be a hero at the finish line when you say yes to organ donation. Learn more at driventosavelives.org.
welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Father's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for dads and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Pat Sullivan here with exciting news from my friends at Hope Plumbing, now known as Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Hope now offers plumbing, heating, and air conditioning services, bringing total comfort to your home. No more dealing with multiple home service memberships. For only $8 a month, Hope is now your one-stop for safety and maintenance inspections and so much more. Make sure you're prepared for those Indiana summer heat waves with an AC tune-up by calling Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling today at 641-HOPE.
Stop putting up with lousy well water. You just can't find anybody better than the pros at C&J. Great systems, great people too. C&J at 317-852-WELL.
Recovery is a journey, and no one walks it alone. The Supporting Sobriety podcast helps friends and families understand addiction, offer support, and care for themselves along the way. Hosted by Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
We had it all, just like Bobby and the call.
93 WIBC, it is the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Casey's here, and we love you, our very fabulous audience. You are the lifeblood of what we do, and we want you to be around for a very long, healthy, and happy time. And so every so often here on this program, we take an opportunity to talk about things you can do to make sure you do just that. And this is the month of May, where, yes, of course, it's the Indy 500, but it's also Skin Cancer Awareness Month, where dermatologists across the country encourage you to do some small things that could be very important to your long-term health. And with us today to talk about Skin Cancer Awareness Month and some things you can do to help yourself is one of the best dermatologists in Central Indiana, my dermatologist, Dr. Scott Githner. Dr. Githner, hello.
Thanks, Rob, for having me here today. Appreciate the introduction. And yeah, it is Skin Cancer Awareness Month. Melanoma, non-melanoma skin cancer like basal and squamous cell skin cancers affect millions of people. It is actually the most common cancer in the United States. It's very, very prevalent, and it's certainly something that can be preventable if not only treated and diagnosed early, but also preventable by appropriate use of sunscreen and sun protection clothing and other things.
So you are the head honcho of the Dermatology Center.
I'm at the Dermatology Center of Indiana. We have locations in Plainfield, Zionsville, and Greenwood, dermindy.com.
I love that. So, what a marketing genius right there.
I mean, we work together very well, don't we, Rob?
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that people knew you weren't just some guy we brought off the street. You do have expertise in skin cancer and skin cancer awareness.
Absolutely. Not only myself, but also my entire team with a number of different providers at all of our locations. Experts in the treatment and diagnosis of skin cancer, among many other diseases.
All right, so let's get into this real quick, and then you brought a special guest that we're gonna kind of highlight the importance of getting this done. I went to see you about, it's been probably 12 years ago now, and I come and see you once a year, and you thankfully every year say, you're good, get out of my office. But this is something that a lot of people should be doing, because if you catch it early enough, you can treat it, and it's important for many people to make sure they don't have this, that skin cancer is very prevalent, but it's also treatable.
Absolutely. And so if diagnosed early, especially melanoma, if diagnosed early, can be treated very, very effectively, and certainly the other skin cancers as well.
All right, so you have brought with us today somebody who has been through this, and because of the early diagnosis of people such as yourself, has been able to live a very, very productive life.
Absolutely. And so I brought with me today a good friend of mine, not only personally, but professionally as well. He helped train my son in terms of athletic performance, but also as a patient. And his name is Matt Dugan. He is the head and founder of Dugan Sports Performance, locations up in Carmel. And so he actually has experienced melanoma himself. So I'll introduce Matt and let him talk.
Yeah, Matt. So obviously, I went to see Dr. Ginther. My physician said, hey, you got a couple spots I want him to take a look at. And I went, and he said, thankfully, hey, you're good, but you need to come back once a year and make sure you're good. I'm curious how you ended up going to see him and what that journey was like for you.
Yeah, so it actually started with my wife looking at a mole on my back, my lower back, which I never really saw. And she was like, that looks pretty funky. Why don't you call Dr. G, see if he can get you in and all that kind of stuff. So with our relationship, I texted him. He was able to get me in. I showed up, and he took the mole off, standard procedure, and he gave me 3 scenarios. He said, 1, it's nothing. I see you once a year. We stay on top of it. That's great. 2, okay, it is something. Come back. We can do a little procedure. Take it here. He goes, 3, it's melanoma skin cancer, and that's the big one. And in the back of my head, I'm thinking, okay, I'm not really worried about that one per se. And he took it off, did a great job, and contacted me a few weeks later. Next thing you know, he's like, Matt, I hate to tell you, you have melanoma skin cancer. And I was kind of shocked because I was like, how do I have cancer? Because that's a big buzzword.
That's a big word, right? Yeah.
And Dr. G here, he said it's one of the most common cancers, but nobody really thinks about it. And I never went to the dermatologist. Why? I'll use sunscreen, but it's not going to affect me. But then, luckily I went in, got that mole taken off, and then him and his team were great. They got me hooked up with my surgeon, Dr. Meyer, and, I was able to get an appointment with her. And it was actually kind of crazy. I went and saw her. And she was like, we gotta have surgery. You got to get the margins clear because, this mole ended up being a bigger deal than what I initially thought.
Matt Dugan, our guest along with Dr. Scott Ginther. It's Skin Cancer Awareness Month. It's something we do every year on this program, talk about the importance of preventative screening. Matt was actually diagnosed with melanoma. We're talking about the process that he went through. So Dr. Ginther, kind of talk about what that's like, what he goes through, because you got to make that phone call, right? You got to tell somebody this and the process, because for many people, it's not a death sentence, as he's obviously here in front of us and doing great and very healthy, but you got to catch it as early as possible.
That's exactly right. And early detection is really key. Prevention is key, from like I talked about earlier, talking about using sunscreen, sun protective clothing, other things like that. But detection is key. And when you look at detection, it's obviously very important to get examined by at least once a year for a skin cancer by a board-certified dermatologist and or the dermatology team. And then certainly once diagnosed, what we need to do is be very effective and open and transparent with our patients. And that's what we did with Matt. We said, this is what you have, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it. So setting up a specific game plan, many times not only working with individuals within our practice, but outside of our practice. And like Matt mentioned, we work with a number of different physicians outside our practice, including Dr. Juliana Meyer, who is wonderful in terms of not only getting Matt in quickly, but also effectively treating him. And then again, focusing on the team approach to give Matt and other patients that are diagnosed with skin cancer the best care possible.
Take us through what an exam is actually like, because people think, oh my gosh, I got to go to this big exam. Take us through when you talk about everybody should get these yearly exams, what are they like?
Yeah, it's very easy, actually. Patients will come into the office and typically undress down to their underwear, bra, other things like that. And what we end up doing is we go ahead and examine the patient from head to toe. And we will go ahead and look for unusual moles, anything that looks different, anything that might not be healing. And many times what we find is that the patients are more concerned about other lesions when we're concerned about more specific ones based on our significant experience.
Yeah, I got no idea. When I go see you, I'm like, I think I'm dying of that one, and you're like, no, you're fine. There's no problem. And then you're like, I'm looking at this one though, and I was like, that's why you're a doctor.
Absolutely.
And I'm a radio broadcaster.
Absolutely. Well, I think, we all have very important jobs every day. And so the thing about it is this, is what we try to do is we try to not only encourage the once-a-year skin checks, but also there are different apps and different things like that they can use. I actually utilize an app called Skin Check app, which if patients are concerned, they should always get checked by a physician or a provider that's specializing in dermatology. But they can also use different apps that allow them to actually screen themselves and get in as well to be seen if they're concerned about something, or the app tells them to be concerned about something.
Matt, I'm just curious how your life has changed since this happened, and I'm curious how long it took you to get back to health, and kind of what your advice would be to people based on your experience.
Yeah, so obviously if my story helps somebody, I kind of had the full gambit. You go have surgery to clear margins. Oh, we have to take a lymph node out. That lymph node tests positive, which all of a sudden makes it a much bigger deal. They're like, if it's in a lymph node, it goes to stage 3, which is a big buzzword in the cancer world. And then I went through a treatment every 4 weeks. So it was kind of shocking for a year, going and sitting in a cancer treatment room. That provides a pretty big perspective to,
right,
how life is. And, you would get tired and all that kind of stuff. And, but the good thing is, I'm an active person. So I stayed active. I leaned on, people that were around that have experienced cancer, because I am a cancer patient now.
Right.
And
you look at you and you think, you think of it being older people, and you look at a guy like yourself who's super fit, and you realize the skin cancer thing can hit anybody.
Exactly. And that was kind of the shocking thing is I was, before I went and saw Dr. G and had this mole cut off, I was doing some pretty crazy fitness things in the summer, and I was like, okay, no big deal. And then all of a sudden you kind of get hit in the mouth with this thing, and now you got to deal with it. I would say it was probably, I had the typical side effects from going and getting treatment, and there was a lot of anxiety that goes with it too. I mean, the mental side of knowing you're going through cancer treatments and seeing people like that, it's tough. But fortunately enough, I developed a great perspective on, hey, it's one treatment at a time, one positive PET scan, like that's negative. That's what I mean by that. Getting clear PET scans, that all makes it worthwhile. And now I go see him, every 4 months. Graduated, now I'm to every 6 months. My PET scans are every 6 months. And the more you get, positive news and feedback, it just is like, okay, it was worth it to go through the scary treatment side, the surgery side, because now I can look and say, hey, I'm 3.5 years through a cancer diagnosis. And like you said, people don't think about skin cancer leading to these kinds of scenarios.
Yeah. So before I let you go, Dr. Ginther, again, it's Skin Cancer Awareness Month, and we obviously take a lot of pride in promoting good things for the public and things they should be doing. What are the steps people should be taking? Because I'm guessing the overwhelming majority of people who see you, you tell them, get out of here. I'll see you next year.
I think the number one thing is basically be self-aware. A monthly self-skin exam is very important. If you have a spouse or significant other, they can also look at areas that you can't see. That's important. I think it's important to get a once-a-year skin check just to make sure that we identify, again, the most frequent cancer that we see in America.
So that is going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Great job, Casey. As always, great job to Kevin as well. And most importantly, great job to you, our very fabulous listeners. Without you, there is no us. Stick around. Tony Katz coming up next. Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Hey, will you be filing for Social Security in the next 5 years? The amount of lifetime income you get from Social Security could vary by hundreds of thousands of dollars. And basically, it all boils down to not only your timing, but also coordinating taxes, spousal benefits, IRAs, 401k withdrawals, and much more. Hammer and Nigel here. You got to make sure you get every penny that's rightfully yours with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Demery.
We trust Bill Demery, and you can too. And if you've saved more than $200,000 and have not yet filed for Social Security, schedule that free analysis right now by calling Bill Demery, 317-648-5120. This analysis could help you get hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional lifetime income, and it's free. Schedule it right now, 317-648-5120. 317-648-5120. Bill Demery, your retirement guy.
Spring in Indy, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Don did. He called Rhino Shield.
Well, the home was built in 1948. Paint on the aluminum siding was peeling, and I couldn't find anyone who would repaint it until I called Rhino Shield.
Rhino Shield's better than paint. And the crew?
Painted all my aluminum siding, and I've got a front porch that runs the whole length of the house, and all the pillars and everything. And once they were gone, I couldn't even tell that they were there.
With Rhino Shield's 25-year transferable warranty, you'll never have to paint your home again. And right now, you can have Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
Well, I've told a lot of people, do the Rhino Shield. It's really a great product, and if you don't want to paint the house, that would be the way to go.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino!
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
During much of Indiana's history, communicating on the telephone with the deaf or hard of hearing was nearly impossible. Friends and loved ones couldn't stay in touch, so the hard of hearing became isolated. Today, those with hearing loss have equal access with the captioned telephone from Relay Indiana and can keep their independence. Relay Indiana allows a caller to read what the other party is saying. This advanced technology keeps Hoosiers connected so that everyone can contribute to Indiana's productive future. Learn more at RelayIndiana.com.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Spring is here, and Dammons is full speed ahead with endless plant production of perennials, annuals, hanging baskets, roses, and planters. Trucks are arriving with fresh trees and shrubs. Dammons' friendly staff is ready to assist you and get you the help you need. So for any of your gardening needs, experience Dammons South on Emerson Avenue and Dammons West on Rockville Road.
Dammons Lawn and Garden, Indiana's most complete garden center.
Tune in to the Absolute Retirement Planning Show.
When retirement comes about, we're now relying on what we have saved to meet those needs.
Sundays at 9 a.m. right here on 93 WIBC.
This May, be a hero at the finish line. Indiana Donor Network and Driven